should probably be recording.
Probably.
That was where I started recording.
Hold on. Oh, recording.
I can kind of get my bottle of water sound.
Heh.
Refreshing clean water. Hey everybody, before we get started, I'd like to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Ahagaro Comics and Drago66. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early, like this one, in audio format, probably like a day early because it takes me forever to render these, and lots of other goodies, and it would really help us out and stuff.
What he said.
So, the show starts.
Yeah.
What's up, Lucky?
I am a professional tire boy. That's gonna be like our new tagline, because Jesus fucking Christ. It is fucking Friday, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank God. If I had a soundboard, I would play the metal version of Rebecca's Black Friday. It's totally baller. You should guys go just listen to them because they're fucking hilarious. Just go listen to metal versions of just any regular pop song. They're fucking great, every single time. But other than that, no, I'm just your average, everyday, blue collar, tired, sleepy adult. Oh my God.
So I was super tired earlier this week, so I did not accomplish much. My story is not really as grand as having a late night job or something. I just accidentally on a day, because I was doing stuff, I ended up, the way it worked out is I skipped a meal, and then I was devastated for 2 days. Because that's how it happens.
I refuse to skip meals.
I was just dead tired. I mean, I probably could have fit another meal in there anyway, but it just so happened that I was busy with stuff, so I didn't eat lunch early, and then there was a dinner opportunity, so it was well, I can wait 30 minutes, and basically it will be quote-unquote dinner time, so I'll eat a full meal, and then it was well, I probably could squeak in another meal in here somewhere, but I don't feel like it, because I felt very tired. So everybody, remember to take care of yourselves, because your body doesn't like it when you do that. So I've been super tired this week.
I've just been super tired in general, just because I feel like I got a lot on my plate, and I keep trying to cram more in there, even though I shouldn't. Because I like doing things, and sometimes I forget that I only have so many hours in a day to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, as everyone's saying, probably seen from last week's Top FGO, it's at some point Editor Lucky was just I fucking can't right now. Full on, just laying on the ground, contemplating their existence. Can't.
Fair enough.
I thought.
Honestly, that's how I felt when the week started. I was just wow, I am just dead. I can't sleep, and I'm constantly hungry, but also I have no energy, so I'm going to lie here and maybe eat some snacks and not do anything.
30 days of chicken fingers. I can't get over oh my God. One of the things I've been trying to get back into really fucking hard is I've been trying to get back into the art dungeon and working on stuff, because there's a lot of art assets I want to make. As I said, I already have a design for my personal avatar. It's done. I got a rough draft. I just need to actually make it look pretty. I'm working on a art of Brave Liz that has literally been on my tablet for months, which I haven't been working on just because I've been busy. I use this in air quotes because I could be working on it, but I don't want to take away time from you watching anime or playing video games, because those are my distressors. Real talk, I need those in my life. Otherwise, I'm gonna kill somebody.
These animes and video games you speak of. Who has time to be awake for that? No, I'm kidding.
And
kind of.
I said I haven't even gotten to the concepts stage of Omega's avatar. I just have some notes, and I have some, what do I want to say, disambiguous amorphous concept images in my head.
By the way, if you heard a noise just there, it's because I downshifted my mic arm. If you hear a weird, you might be able to... Noise cancellation will probably get that, but if you hear a scratching sound, it's because I also need to shave.
Oh, man, me too.
So,
as
you
it's
probably
Friday,
won't...
it's after work.
You probably won't hear it, but there's a little bit of beard scratching.
Like, as I said, it's Friday for me. It's after work for me. As I said, I like to remind everyone, I work from midnight to 8:30 a.m. Record around noon, between like noon and like 1. So we can be done by like 3, so I can go to sleep or not go to sleep, depending on how fucking stupid I feel like being.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually, like, in between like 9 and 12, I usually like take a shower, get food, all that stuff. I haven't taken a shower yet, so I'm just like, bleh.
No, I'm hoping this episode doesn't take forever because, one, I need to shower and shave today still, just because I'm not literally like night working like Lucky, but I am. My sleep schedule is a little fucked up. I don't like fall asleep until like 5 a.m. and wake up until like 12. So, just that's the way it is right now. I'd love to adjust that maybe a couple hours earlier, but for now it's a little goofed up. So I don't do any shit in the morning. I have never been a morning person, and let me tell you this right now. Morning people exist. There are morning people, and there are not morning people. Even if my sleep schedule is adjusted so I sleep comfortable, say I, went to bed at exactly midnight, slept exactly 8 hours, and woke up at 8 o'clock a.m., I still wouldn't have a good time at 8 a.m. I do not do good in the mornings. I need, like, a good half hour to an hour to wake up from just being blah.
It's like,
collect myself,
I'm naturally
get food.
nocturnal, but like I don't do waking up well. Like, I have like seriously like 3 alarms that have to go off to get my ass out of bed.
I'm not
like
quite that heavy of a sleeper, but yeah, no. If you rouse me from sleep, which you can do pretty easy, you better have something good, otherwise I'm just gonna roll back over and go, fuck it, I can sleep another hour. Or, as I like to do sometimes, I wake up and I'm like, oh, it's only 9 a.m. I've only been asleep a few hours. I can sleep. I can sleep some more, and then I open my eyes again after like a blink, and I'm like, why is it 1? It's afternoon. How did that happen? I could have sworn it was 9 a.m. a second ago. But yeah, no, we're not morning people.
We're professional tired boys right now.
We are professional tired boys. I think, is that what my Twitter profile says right now?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I keep referencing it.
Yeah, that's right. No, I'm professional sleep boy.
Yeah, sleep boy.
Though I did make my next business. I tweeted once that my next business card should be professional sleep boy or something like that.
Oh my god, I should make me some business cards. If I'm going to SoccerCon next year, I'm definitely making me some business cards. Also, might print up some StudiOmega T-shirts and get a T-shirt cannon for reasons.
Yeah. We really like our T-shirts. We just don't sell many. We'll get there someday.
Like, personally, I like my favorite one. Like, 30 Days of Chicken Finger makes me laugh. As I said, I want to get some art assets on that shit. Like, just
no, that's fine. I think some of our shirt designs are clever, or the jokes they reference at least are cool. But design wise, I think like my favorite is like the Astolfo silhouette you did. One, because that is one of our most original jokes. And just also, you actually drew a silhouette that looks really good, and I bet it would look really good on a shirt.
Yeah, and no one's bought it. Oh god,
I'm surprised. Quite a few people said they liked the design. I guess nobody wants to actually put their money where their mouth is, which is always a problem. Yeah. Which, let's be honest, audience, we don't hold that against you, because you're still giving us your time, and as we've said in other places, time equals money. But still, like, it's funny that people will pay you that compliment, like, oh, that's really cool, I like that, and then nothing. Months and months, now nobody's buying a shirt.
Support your industry. Buy a shirt. I don't know, as I said, like, again, like, once I get, like, as I said, like, my big problem with my art is I'm super fucking slow with it, and I never have time for it. It's not bad. Like, Omega, you seen My Brave Liz, right?
Yeah.
Like, the whip, the work in progress?
I've actually watched... you've done some moments where you've like hopped in like a general voice channel or streamed it and stuff. So yeah, no, it's
like I think it looks really good. Like once I put some color on it, yeah, it'd be great. I might fuck it. Actually, no, Mega, we're gonna throw it on a fucking shirt.
Okay, we can throw it on a shirt or on a pillow or on a wall scroll. We can actually do a wide variety of merchandise. It's just all the stuff that's not T-shirts. It's a picture editor, not a text editor. So with a shirt, I can literally just, the way Teespring does shirts is I can literally just go, all right, give me a generic art asset that you say I can use so I know they're fine, like our Power Level Orca or the 30 Days of Chicken Fingers. Then give me a fucking text window and a pick of fonts. That's it. Though I will say, oh my god, Teespring got me into the font game hard. So you guys may notice when I do thumbnails occasionally, I pull out some weird ass fonts. Yeah, no, I love fonts now. I hunt for cool thematic fonts. But yeah, no. So but for like pillows, phone cases, like I said, like wall art, towels, all that needs an art asset, leggings. That's something I think would be really cool if we could find some art design that Lucky does that can fit on leggings. Shit like that. Just, we need the time. And Lucky needs the energy.
Yeah, like I tell people, I'm ADD. Like, art is something I like. It is not my fucking passion. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you're ADD, if it's not your fucking passion, good luck focusing.
Speaking of passions, though, that's funny you mentioned that because you're like, oh, I don't know. You're like, I don't know if I could focus that. So, one of the things I have had time to do because I am a madman is I have been working more on Materiel Girl, the Mecha Musume, or the anthropomorphic moe thing RPG. We were working on that. Wrote a lot of that
Moification.
while I was incredibly tired. It's funny. All the fluff and stuff I wrote while I was basically just dead tired and hungry all the time. The actual mechanics, now that it's later in the week, is when I'm awake. I can actually do math and stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been working on that. I've been going back and forth with Lucky a little bit on concepts. But speaking about, like, passions and stuff, so I wrote 13 pages of short fiction.
Oh, yeah.
And actually I did an interesting thing. I did this way earlier in the week. I will post a link in the description of this video because if you're interested in that, you might want to check it out. So look in the description. But, excuse me, like I said, I wrote it several days ago, and something I did was I wanted to try out was I put it up a link for patrons first. Not really as like a deliberate, like, oh, I'm going to paywall this, but just like, okay, I know I'm going to post this later in the week when it's relevant to the show, but we can try this out, see if people are interested and just throw it up for like any level of patron, not like any particular like $5 or higher or anything like that level. Just if you're a patron, you could have checked out this link, a couple days beforehand. And if you're a patron listening to the audio version, you still can. Just scroll down. You'll find it. Or you can hit me up in the patron zone of the Discord, and I'll give you the link there too. But it was just, I just randomly got it in my head to write this story as kind of like an example to work through some descriptors and stuff. And then I just wouldn't let it go. I wrote for like hours and hours. I don't know how many words 13 pages is, but it definitely took me a day's worth of writing. And I was just like, I'm just going to write, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to like, God, this is taking forever, but I'm going to keep at it, and I finished it.
Yeah, so like its title was a Tank Girl in a Dry Land, and honestly, that like this is like that his short fiction was what basically flipped the switch, excuse me, on my interest in this, because as I said, like I'm like, for me to get like involved in like, for me to get down like nitty gritty and start putting my news to the grinder, like two things have to happen. One, I have to be interested in it, and two, I have to have knowledge about it. As I said, so like designing a mecha, like, well, not designing, but cool, I don't even want to say, like, throwing ideas. I guess that's what I do. Throwing ideas at Omega for a Mecha Musume tabletop. Like, I won't lie, like, I originally wasn't that interested because he basically just had, like, oh yeah, I have some bare bones. Here you go. And I'm like, eh. But once he wrote the short fiction, I read through it. I was like, I am now intrigued! And immediately started firing off questions to Omega. And we started hammering things out, like, pretty fucking quickly.
So there's... So first, I wrote... How many pages? Hold on, I'm scrolling in the document. So currently there's about 20 pages of fluff, which is just basic world design and background elements and stuff. After that is when I wrote Tankerland and Dry Land, which was just like, okay, I have this idea for a character and a setting, and I just want to write with this story. So I wrote a first person narrative from the perspective of one of the Materiel Girls doing a thing and just some stuff, and peppered in some references to the actual fluff in there. And then that was kind of a springboard, because if you read it and then you read the actual, like, the design notes and the hard and fast rules we've gotten so far, you will definitely see some similarities where I was like, okay, I'm deliberately invoking what the rules will be like in the fiction. You know, there's points where the character, the unnamed tank girl, explicitly, like, you know, calls out things she likes to do, things she doesn't like. So basically what in the game would be like things you can get her favorite thing, you know, or do a favorite activity. There's stuff she doesn't like. It references some of the extras and abilities she can do. Also, I think the way we've shaken out the personality matrix so far, you can kind of see where she stands and how that would work, even though that was hammered out a little bit after, because it's like you can kind of see where the characterization comes, and more stuff I haven't even gotten to yet, because there's stuff we haven't put hard and fast rules on yet, or I should say I haven't put hard and fast rules on that Lucky has offered me critique or inspiration on.
Like I said, like, I don't like really sit down with the rules. I usually just sit there, I'll read stuff, and I just start yelling ideas, and I see which ones stick to Omega.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, that's kind of how I get that inspiration. It's like, all right, I got some stuff, I'm gonna throw some stuff at you, and basically I see what bounces back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how like, I like solidified some stuff. Like, for instance, I knew initially I wanted probably a D6 die pool system, because this is how I said it to Lucky. I like the D6 die pool because I want it to feel kind of like a war game, like you're almost like you could be pushing miniatures around a board. Though, pro tip, I don't think any of us are any good at 3D printing or CAD, so there are no miniatures yet.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 years we'll kickstart this. And we can have some, you know, sweet, generic War Machine girls. But anyway, but Lucky actually, because I was like, I'm not sure what exactly I want to do for what, so Lucky, you know, well, he basically came back to me with the Shadowrun rules, but still. You know, it's a 5+ counts for success, 6 to explode, because I knew I wanted exploding dice, because exploding dice are fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the typical system you get a lot with this, like you see this with World of Darkness, with Shadowrun, the ones count as a penalty. They're a negative success. If more than half your dice are ones, you botch, so you automatically fail, and fail dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And then there are various modifiers, like you can add dice. There's a luck manipulation mechanic, called commands, which is you get 3. So I feel like I was slightly inspired by command seals and FGO. So you can do your usual stuff there, like, you know, drop a point to give your Materiel Girl some HP mid-fight, or a Materiel Girl in case you have several. You can add dice, extra dice. You can reroll all your failures, and then the final chance, which isn't you don't permanently lose a point of command. You just have to spend 3 to have a Materiel Girl survive with 1 HP when she would have died. And then I was able to tie that into the personality matrix, because that has a lot of... That's our, like... Well, I keep saying our. That's my, like, role-playing guarantee system. You will assign these personality traits, and you should play them up, because if you play them up in the right situation, you get bonuses, where, like, your personality and the Materiel Girl's personality will, like, complement each other or synergize. Literally, those are 2 of the lovely action terms I used. And then there are also penalties if they, like, conflict. Or one of my favorites is I found a very fancy term, divertisement, which is basically when your personalities are 2 alike, which can go a lot of ways. The example I immediately thought of is if both you and the Materiel Girl have a high ardor, that means you guys are, like, making out in the backseat and not doing what you should be doing, basically, is how that works. Stuff like that, like where your personalities are 2 alike, you end up wasting time or getting distracted. But it says the first time you basically roleplay your way into a penalty in a session, you get a point of command back. So so there's a possible positive, there's a possible negative. The negatives aren't always bad, though, in a meta sense, because you can, you know, turn that around. Like, you can be like, okay, so it's gonna hurt for, like, a roll or 2, but if I play this up, we can actually get some stuff out of there. I think the personality matrix is pretty nailed down. we've got it to 8, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 8. Some of which were suggested by Lucky, and then like I tweaked the words a little. Some of them I came up with on my own. We could maybe fit in one more.
I don't know. I think there's a good spread. Like honestly, I feel like I can't remember which one. I felt like a couple.
Oh wait, no, there's only 7. That's right. I miscounted. So maybe an 8th, but my max would be 8, and I think I got most of them because nothing else is coming to mind. There's like how emotionally expressive are you, or versus how cold and professional you are. Like bravery versus timidity. Whether you've got like a happy or a sad outlook, mature versus childish. I think you phrase it as like classy versus crass, but I switch it to refined versus rough.
Yeah.
So being crass is only one aspect of being rough. You might also be, you're plain spoken, direct, or possibly hasty. And also the idea is you want to balance these traits. You can go whole hog and just be like, I have 5 mature and 0 childish. But then that's like, you're like super mature. You're like overly responsible. Possibly cynical or pragmatic, like very much a like realistic. You're all about realism in the real world. You have to do your real world responsibilities now. There's no childish innocence or anything left. Well, there's Ax brought up a good point about like the scaling kind of thing. It's a hard like 0 to 5 scale, and your traits are on an opposed axis, and they can touch but not overlap, is how I like to phrase it. So if you have 5 Ardor, you have 0 Frigid, which means you have a very unbalanced aspect of your personality. So you can roll that back. You could be balanced. You could be like 2 Ardor, 2 Frigid. So your bonuses probably won't be as high, but your penalties won't be as severe, and your character will have a much more reasonable and balanced personality. Obviously, being inspired by, Moe Blob waifu shit games, some people are just gonna go crazy and be like, no, I will need the perfect woman, and that's okay, but then you have to hopefully your game master who decides what penalties and bonuses apply when will... and has to take the responsibility of role-playing the Material Girls, will get on you for being too dumb about your design. I've built a character who is, super affectionate, but also shy and passive or submissive and really happy, and it's going to be like, okay, so this character will never do anything unless you tell her to, and she will ignore all things that are bad. And just want to hug you. But yeah, so I've worked on a lot of stuff, and the only thing really next to do besides maybe do some test builds and like figure out exactly how many points go into a personality matrix, and maybe, like I said, maybe one more axis. And maybe I'll either link the main doc to this in the description so other people can read it, or I'll just post it on Discord if people are interested. After that, it's going to be working on the actual Material Girl outlines, which means I got to figure out like what stats and skills are available, in general, which is always a weird thing. Lots of games have a big skill upend, so we'll have to like figure that out, but also avoid skill bloat. Lucky has actually thrown out a lot of ideas though that I like. Like you came up with like the idea of time units, which I really love. This idea that you are explicitly spending sections of your day doing stuff. So like, okay, you've got a mission in the afternoon. What do you do in the build up? And certain things will take like a whole time unit, and there's still room for like role playing, but I think it simplifies a problem of like, what are you doing? It's specifically, what are you doing in the morning? And then, okay, you'll do this that takes up a time unit. You can just do free hangouts and stuff like that. Maybe like a default action to just hang out with your Material Girls can like slightly raise their affection, because there's going to be an affection scale, which will include like stat bonuses and stuff. Or at the very least, it'll have some kind of interactivity. It'll be maybe a Dragon Age style minus 100 to plus 100 scale.
Who knows?
It'll be something. That's another. We'll iron out like exact numbers. But I think it's a good idea to like have this structured so you're like, okay, so I can spend, say, the morning on therapy because stress is going to be an important mechanic. You as the player will accrue stress. The Material Girls will accrue stress. If your stress caps out, you basically have like a breakdown or something, which is something I kind of stole from Maid, the RPG. Though in Maid, there's no physical damage at all. It's all stress. So there's that's different. But yeah, basically, if you let a Material Girl stress out, she'll either like, go like it'll be a bit like a sand break. You'll get some kind of like fight or flight moment, or if it's on base, it'll be like, okay, I have to go immediately do my stress relieving action. Mm-hmm. So like, the girl has to immediately go to the firing range and dump like thousands of rounds of ammo. And, well, you can't hang out with her for a time unit or two because she's got to de-stress. So, like, you can have a little therapy to get rid of that. You can, do training to increase your stats and skills. This is why it's always good to have somebody, like, an editor to bounce stuff off of. Because, like, I was like, okay, I don't know for sure what the controller should represent, right? So, because that's you. The player character is the controller. Mm-hmm. With the capital C, that's the term I've consistently used in the fluff and fiction. So it's like, okay, I don't know exactly what they're going to do, so Lucky comes to me with the obvious player character questions. Oh, is the controller going to be able to fight? I'm going to be like, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's no reason why you there's a practical reason why you shouldn't, but there's no reason why they would explicitly prevent you from fighting. You have to be close enough to be in, like, radio contact, so it's not, like, if you're standing back at base looking at the wall of computers like a modern military thriller, and the Material Girls are basically your Predator drones eyeballing Jason Bourne or whatever, okay, you can do that, but that's gonna, one, limit your ability to interact with the scenario, and two, depending on your situation, your Material Girls not might like that very much. It's entirely possible that they will think you're basically, a couch potato, a joystick jock, and be pissed off that you get to sit at an air-conditioned command center while they do all the heavy lifting. Alternatively, if you want to, go all like Jason Bourne, Jack Ryan yourself, get all up in your high-speed low drag. If you fight a Material Girl who's carrying a battleship cannon and she shoots you, you're dead. You're gonna die. You're gonna be fucking dead. There's no res in this system. Medical technology is pretty good if you're not instantly killed. If you can get a Castivac, you can probably be put back together. It'll be expensive. We'll have to figure out what that looks like at some point, probably when we do like combat damage. Because Material Girls, if you blow them up, you have to buy them a new body, basically. But their AI is backed up every mission, so you'll be able to basically soft reset or hard reset back to the point just before. They'll lose any EXP they gained on the operation, and any other stuff. But that's it. Maybe a slight stress hit to be like, oh well, I got blown up. That sucked. The real cost will be, does your R&D budget cover all the fancy shit you stapled to her first? Because there's gonna be a decent amount of gear fiddliness. Right. One, because I like gear fiddliness, Lucky likes gear fiddliness, but also because that's an aspect of these games. It's like, you got a couple of different equipment slots, you sometimes have different, like, weapon slots and stuff. Like, there's almost always at least one equipable, sometimes two, so I like that customization. And yeah, it's definitely a interesting thing we can work with. But you as a person will not be as hardy, and you cannot carry battleship cannons yourself. So, if you fight a heavy-duty Material Girl, you will do nothing. That's actually in Tankerland and Dryland. The titular character has a sidearm. She's carrying an actual pistol, but it literally does almost nothing. She uses it dramatically to stall an enemy so she can hit them with something that'll actually do damage. Because both in fiction and just in general, like fluff description, Material Girls are supposed to be tough, right? Like, they're humans, they don't have any squishy organs like we do. They are full of, like, synthetic muscle, armor weave skin, high strength composite bones. The only areas that are quote-unquote vital to them is center of the torso, where they have their power plant, whatever form that is, and then head, where their brain is. And you can be like, why do they have their brain in their head? Because they're supposed to be human-like. That is an explicit comparison. They are as human-emulating as possible. That means they have some weird stuff, like in Tank Girl. First of all, you should just read it, because there's lots of little details. But there's a couple of details I point out, like, they don't have to breathe, but they can mimic the human action of breathing, because people think it's creepy if you don't breathe. So They fake breathing. Also, they have electronic noses, so they need to intake air somehow to, like, smell and stuff. But, like, all the time, they fake breathing so you don't get creeped out. Also, they can cry, but they don't produce tears on their own, so they have to basically, like, get an eyedropper and top up their tear ducts first. Also, I did note some things, like, they don't sweat, so if you get covered in, like, sand or something, you have to wash off. That's a very important point. But yeah, no, it's that's a lot of what my mental focus has been on. Because actually, I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. Did anybody actually post a couple of characters? I know you posted your character for Mages of War. I don't think Martha's linked me one yet.
I've linked it. Wolfgang Schmidt is not to finish. Also, I had like 3 topics I wanted to bring up on Materials Girls, but since you would not shut up, I totally forgot all of them.
Really? Wow, damn. But when you got me talking about a project I literally said is like clearly currently a passion project. I'm like super into this design right now. Do you have any idea what direction they were in?
So one, I mentally keck every time, like, when you're saying, like, I keep saying our, I mean my, I'm like, why can't you say our? I helped. If you
the thing is, I'm trying to give credit where credit is due. It's like, okay, so I'm doing most of the writing, you're, like, helping me suggest stuff, but I don't necessarily want to imply, like, some of these, you're, like, 100% committed to these designs either. Like, it's...
I don't know, if you asked me if I want to be 100% committed?
I mean, like, I guess if we're writing it as a joint, we are, but at the moment, this is, like, I'm doing the writing, you're in editing or playtesting, so, like, it's... Yeah, I don't know, it's just, I feel like my instinct is to say our because that's what we always say on the show, but some of these are like, this was definitely 100% my idea that I wrote down, and then other points it's like, okay, no, this is a point where we collaborated on, so it gets weird me finding a consistent terminology.
Okay, and the second part is, the reason I specifically mentioned, could the controllers fight is because, like, you mentioned, like, you know, the controller being back in, like, a military base. Like, when I envision, like, Girls on a Mission, I envision them more in something like a command van that's not too far from the mission site, which, you know, could be a fucking prime-ass target for attack.
And that's actually like, how it is in the fiction I wrote, right? Like, it's... Yeah. I don't think I'd probably cover it somewhere when talking about, like, whatever the fuck your default gear is. Like, you'd have to have a default radio rig, but... The intention is you're not too far off because you have to be able to have, like, secured radio contact. You so it's like can't have, like, direct, literal wireless control because that could be bad.
Yeah. For reasons. But, so it's like, it's literally the mindset of, like, as I said, like, if I'm going to try to take out, like, because the way that the setting works is the Material Girls need to have a controller or they can't act. So... if you want to, like, basically stop a fucking Material Girl, like a legal one, like, that's in the fucking fluff, you know, just literally take out her handler. Then she'll be severely limited in what she can do.
Limited to self-defense, standing orders, etc.
Yeah.
If that's assuming, depending on how much of a pain in the ass I want to be, whether or not there's, like, an automatic, like, oh, well, you no longer have controller authorization, but... For sure, it means she cannot kill humans. It is explicit. Yeah. Only a human has the authority to kill another human. So you can tell a Material Girl to shoot somebody of her own volition, even if that guy's got, like, an anti-tank rocket pointed at her. She cannot kill him. She can knock the rocket out of his hand. She could blow out his kneecaps, you know, break some bones. But even if she's, like I said, got a guy dead to rights, which, again, that happens in the fiction. There's totally a moment. There's just a couple of dudes minding their own business. And she has to wait for the controller to say, take him first. So yeah, no, that's definitely a point.
That's one of those things, and like, as I said, like me, like honestly, like I'm gonna admit it right now. It's like I started writing some short fiction, but you know me, I'm fucking slow with everything. It's just one of those things of like, what would a commander? Not commander. I guess who's been playing fucking gacha games. Like, what would a controller like be able to do and like against it, like in a foobarred situation? And it's like that's what I've been thinking about because like me, like my favorite type of gaming is like dynamic scenes game and when shit is intense, like it is on the fucking wire, things are out of control. Like think about like any like major like fast paced action scene. Like I like scenes like that. So like that's what I think about like most of the time. It's like what would a commander like? So if the command vehicle got hit and the fucking controller had to scramble, what would they do? And like just think about it, like because I mentioned the time slot thing because I basically pulled that from Persona 5 because all like this is cool, I like this. It's basically streamlines your downtime. It's like would a controller be able to train and skills, combat skills, get gear, whatnot, all that stuff? Because as I said, like while Materiel Girls are definitely the focus of this, there are still going to be just regular old human enemies. There's still going to be times when you might need to get a bit more closer to the action. There's going to be times when, who knows, you might be fucking like, depending on the creativity of your GM, it's all like you might be up shit creek without a fucking paddle. It's all like that's the thing that bugs me about gacha games is they literally regulate the PC to the player character to usually I want to say a man behind the window kind of role. That's what I like about Fate Grand Order is that no, you're like literally in the thick of it at all times.
Yeah, a lot of these gacha games have very minimal story writing.
Yeah,
like even the event like Azur Lane's got an event now that's technically got a story to it, but it's a weird school life thing, so I don't think it's very relevant to anything that's actually happening. But like, as the commander, you actually get out there and you can even have some text window responses. But other than that, you don't say anything. I don't even know if you necessarily directly say anything. It's just like third person or second person, you do the thing. Yeah. It's super
Girls
generic.
Frontline, they're doing a little bit better on story because like at one point like the base you're at gets fucking attacked and you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, stuff like that. But
and even besides the human commander, there are multiple human characters in Girls Frontline who are doing things.
Yeah, as I said, so it's like that's like one of the things I definitely did not want like to have. Well, I didn't want Omega to like focus on because I guess I technically can't say our yet until I contribute more or something. But in this, because like as I said, I like options. I like being able to think because like as agency. Thank you, agency. I like agency. Like, don't put me in a fucking chair directing these girls like a fucking chessboard. These are my precious fucking waifus, and I want to make sure that I can do everything I can for them.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, like that kind of input that's a direct contribution because that's like as the game designer at the top level, I'm like, I don't really know what I want to do here. What are people gonna want to do? And Lucky's my easiest person to access and be like, all right, Lucky, you're the theoretical controller because I am the permanent GM. I will never not be the GM apparently, but you're easily my prospective player character. What would you do in this scenario? And you're like, I mean, are you intending them to be able to fight? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's other than just saying it's dumb of you, there's no reason not to say like mechanically you can't fight. So the compromise that we did kind of come up with, this was a because we talked about it back and forth for a while, was basically the idea that you can take training as a controller. You don't start with any because as a military position, you're a glorified drone operator. You're supposed to sit in the back on your laptop. But if you want to pick up a gun, you can, and there will be certain weapon systems and wearables and stuff that are able to be used by anybody, regardless of like how heavy duty their exoskeletons and stuff are. So you can be able to go in the field, and just the caveat is like there's got to be a chunky salsa rule at some point, which is like if the Materiel Girl equivalent of Metal Gear Rex actually hits you, you're not Snake. You are not somehow impervious to giant gun damage. You will die. If you still want to try that fight on foot with a rocket launcher, you can, just prepared for it to be unpleasant if you actually get hit.
like the short fiction I'm working on right now. I haven't got a title for it because I literally just have like 2 paragraphs right now, but it's basically based on the idea that a mission went bad and the controller managed to get his girl into a vehicle and they're trying to fucking escape while they're being pursued by other Materiel Girls. And at one point, going to pull out a gun that's strong enough to hurt a Materiel Girl, but it's gonna fucking break his arm in the goddamn process just because it's literally human body can't handle it. And so that's along the lines I'm thinking. It's like yeah, no, this like I'm pretty sure in your contract or whatever, it's all like we will provide you no training like whatsoever and stuff, but I'm pretty sure like there's some controllers out there who have air quotes seen some shit and maybe lost some people because I guess let's state in here like marriage to Materiel Girls is, I don't want to say it's common, but it's not rare.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a lot of so there's like 3 fluff chapters. One is like, okay, how do we get here? One is like, what's daily like for everybody? One is like, okay, what are the Materiel Girls actually like? And that covers a lot of stuff from their hardware to their social structure and relationships. So one of the things that is explicit is Materiel Girls have actually, honestly, all the platform, the gynoid type is called her because I am nuts with the acronyms, but it's a humanoid executor robot. But the humanoid robots, all their AI, which is based on human mind scans or whatever you want to, they're based on human neural pathways to blatantly steal from other sci-fi, is almost like fundamentally predisposed to bond in some way. They are predisposed to certain types of socialization, kind of like humans. So they will bond with a controller, they'll bond with their sister units. If they don't get any socialization, they will bond with technicians and randos around the base. Like, they will build relationships no matter what you do. And because I made sure to very carefully state they emulate human emotion, not necessarily that they simulate it, but they emulate it. All their behaviors are functionally human-like, except when they choose not to be. But they don't usually do that because they're supposed to work with people, so they don't like to be weird and uncanny valley. And in fact, being too weird and uncanny valley probably drives them crazy. This is an explicit point. Like, all of them have to have like individuated physical appearances, because otherwise they get weirdly dissociated because they don't have an identity. Like, if you were, I don't know, maybe I should have done some study into like a triplet or quadruplet or whatever psychology or something. But like, if you're literally one of like 8 identical, theoretically disposable, interchangeable pieces, you're gonna have problems with self-identity. That's bad. The robots need to have their own identity and ego, otherwise they have problems doing things in a way that humans would, which is the whole point. The whole point is that in the backstory, they were supposed to go to like long-range asteroid mining missions that normal humans would basically go crazy on, or their supplies would be limited, and they can use all the tools and equipment and spaces that humans can do because they are completely human-shaped and human-capable. But yeah, so fundamentally they build relationships, and these relationships can be pretty deep because, like I said, they emulate the full range of human experience. So if you start a relationship that turns romantic with a Materiel Girl, it will function a lot like a human relationship, because that is fundamentally what her AI is designed to do, is to be human-like in every way. There's no, like, biochemistry that makes them the way they are. It's more like fundamental programming, so sometimes they're a little weird, but basically you can take that as just how they're basically anime characters.
Yeah, like, actually, one of the things I was actually mulling around over my head, I don't know, it's like, it was kind of covered in the writing, it's like on how Materiel Girls feel pleasure or pain. Because, as I said, those are things that, like how do they understand those sensations? Because those are things that would have to be programmed into whatever nervous system, what do I want to call it? Replica they have.
Yeah. Well, and that's in Tank Girl. She gets shot at some point and tries to describe what pain is like for her. She has a sensation which is like, there is a foreign material in my body, I have an injury, and I did my best to kind of write around, because if you think about it, it's a little hard to write describing pain without just saying it hurts. Because every human being has experienced pain. They know what you mean. But it's hard. There are different kinds of pain, right? Like, you can get, like, shooting pains or dull aches. So I tried to describe it like, well, she's just been shot with, like, a giant dart, basically, because that's what kinetic penetrators are like. So there's a big chunk of metal lodged in her body, and her body is physically saying, hey, there's something that's not supposed to be in you, stuck in you, and it sucks, get rid of it. And then it's like, okay, be sensitive about this area, that's where you're damaged. So they definitely have full range of, like, haptic and other forms of feedback. Their skin is basically based on a medical prosthetic, so they feel the same way that humans do. If you want to talk honestly, about physical stimulation, well...
Honestly, well, that's just not that, like, think about, like, your human emotions and how you feel. Think about tactile sensations. Like, fuck, just think about being able to see. Like, if you sit down and actually think about your senses, they are fucking... You take them, like, honestly, a lot of people just fucking take them for granted. Like, being able to comprehend the sensation of pleasure, being able to comprehend the sensation of pain.
Yeah.
Like, it is an infinitely complex sensation that I think, you know, it's, like, really hard to, like, write about and even, like, describe. And
honestly, that's probably why it seems a little brushed over, because it's mentioned that they fully mimic human senses, and then they have a little bit extra, or they can have a little bit extra, but it's kind of brushed over to just be like, okay, just like just go players and game masters, just roll with it, because we don't want to necessarily get down to the... So they've got, you know, X number of sensory nerve endings per square inch of skin, which means they have, you know, this sensitivity and that sensitivity. No, like, their eyes are based on cybernetic prosthetics, so they see as well as a human, but because they have, like, digital lenses, they, like, it's a factor that's in the story, like, the tank girl instantly adjusts to light adjustment. Like, her eyes instantly dial out to be like, oh, it's dark now. They have enhanced zoom and, like, clarity, but they see in the same range of colors as humans do. They have an electronic nose, which is an actual technology we're working on, to smell things and, like, sense about the air. They can sense the temperature roughly, and, like, because their brains are modeled on human brains, they experience that feedback the same way. If one of them touched something that was hot enough to hurt them, they'd be like, ow, that's hot. Same with if it's cold, it would be, ow, that's cold.
Oh man, remember, a lot of emotion and feeling are all a bunch of just chemical processes in the brain.
And that's why I say they emulate. They aren't, it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. Their brains are designed to replicate that situation when they receive that stimulus, but they don't have a biological response to that stimulus that comes first. So
actually, I guess it would be a routine that basically gives them, like, a bunch of just positive feedback that they would translate into something like a pleasurable feeling.
Yeah, kind of like that. They would, like, this feels good. It would be just, like, instinctive. And there's a little bit of, like, training and formative. I said this, like, but the AI that Materiel Girls use is said to be very fast learning, but plateaus quicker than humans. So they're basically born, quote-unquote, adults. They learn everything they need to know, or they understand it already. Like, unlike a human, when you boot up a Materiel Girl out of the factory, she knows how to walk, she knows how to speak a couple languages. Like, at the very least, whatever native language she was programmed to be in. At, like, a dictionary-level understanding. You know...
Omega, have you seen the tech demo for Kara, by the way?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, but God, maybe? It's basically the... hang on, I'll link it to you later. It's basically a tech demo by, what was it, Quantic Games? The people who made, like, fucking Heavy Rain and, Two Souls, and they recently came out with, Detroit 2 Human, which basically is the game I think
I did see that tech demo then, yeah, now it rings a bell.
Yeah, it's basically it's them assembling the girl and all that stuff. As now, like, I think about it, like, yeah, this makes me harken that of her, like, as she's going through the diagnostics, speaking different languages, being assembled, and all that stuff.
And actually, there's a very funny diagnostic scene. I've discovered, I don't know where exactly I picked this up, but for some reason, the idea of, like, dramedy or tragicomedy, the dramatic and the comedic is very strong to me. I've picked that up a lot. which kind of makes sense. Like, those are my favorite works, like Shakespeare. I watched a lot of stuff like that on TV when I was younger.
Is this about the rock in the shoe?
It's about the rock in the shoe, or like the diagnostic. Like, there are moments of levity interspersed between like deadly serious stuff, and I really like that style. But I was thinking of the diagnostics, where you see some interesting feedback. Like, one of her expansion slots is filled with a poker calculator, the others are empty, and the poker calculator is working fine, by the way. You've taken some structural damage, but your ability to calculate the odds of a poker hand still work. Stuff like that. But yeah, so they form their core personality very quickly. Their AI is designed to mimic the full range of human experiences, but obviously no one human is all humans, if you get what I mean. Mm-hmm. So the Material Girls are the same way. They will very quickly develop a personality type that they will follow through based on their initial stimulus and just random factors in their creation. Some of it is somewhat reliant on their form factor. Like, obviously, if you have like a very small, petite girl, she will probably, maybe she'll develop a complex about being shorter, or there'll be some other stimulus there. But some of it's just random, just like, the AI has just decided to learn to be sassy. Maybe she talked to a sassy technician while she was doing basic formative training and diagnostics. That probably means that there's a very careful control over the people that interact with the quote-unquote young robots, because you don't necessarily want them to have too quirky a personality.
I'm pretty sure there still are some that do, though.
Oh yeah, no, and that's an aspect that'll be in more Material Girl design that we haven't quite got to. It's not like the personality matrix, but they will have like personality quirks.
This is gonna play a lot.
There's a plot point in Tank Girl that's like, robot technicians don't actually teach your robot girls to be sadists, where they take physical enjoyment out of causing harm and suffering, because then they get easily distracted. So that will be probably a negative point, which will be like, this robot like killing people. They're not really supposed to do that, so that's not a plus. And there will be some like that, like they will have the ability to develop neurotices, and some will be more double-edged. Like, Lucky, you and I talked about, like, an independent type. So, an independent personality would be, she'd be able to operate without your input all the time and stuff, and, like, know how to manage her own free time, basically. Mm-hmm. But she's gonna get real pissy with you if you, like, micromanage her. Because she's independent. She's a strong, independent robot who don't need no controller.
Yeah, she does. It's literally wired.
It's legally required. But also, another thing to point out is that, while in Tank Girl the controller is referred to as male, the controller can be any gender. And it's explicitly pointed out that because they're not really biological, the Material Girls don't really have sexuality. It's more like they have when you were talking about like pleasure before, they have a strong aesthetic sense. Like, their AI will latch onto things that they like. Like, maybe if you talk about like a tactile feedback, like maybe one of them really likes the feeling of silk or something. Another one really might like the color blue, because, like, humans do that. Why do we have favorite colors? I don't know if anybody's ever bothered studying that, but we do. Like, individual humans have personalities which latch onto stuff like, oh, I like that color. Oh, I like that number. The Material Girls are the same way, but because there's no biology, they're a lot more freeform. And explicitly also, but when we talk about, like, relationship building, robots can love robots.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's entirely possible that if you either aren't the personality type that one or more of your Material Girls likes, or just you're busy, maybe you're in a monogamous relationship with another robot lady, your robot ladies will find other robot ladies. And yes, just because it's a genre convention, we're keeping with the military models are all female. Though that's not to say that in the fiction there won't be some man service if you're into that, because I've realized that male models will be like firefighters and lumberjacks and farmhands. Like, they'll have like exoskeletons based on fire trucks and tractors and excavators and stuff. So that'll be real fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, I think that was like one of the first comments I came, because it was like literally at the top of the doc.
Yeah, that's because that's my initial highest level overview.
Yeah,
is at the top.
And so it's all like, yeah, even if they're not like a special service, like if they're in the civilian section, there is still a lot of fucking heavy duty work in civilian section areas. So
yeah, and that's spelled out when we talk about like you can have male or female units in the civilian market, and then only female units are military. But definitely, you will have male models doing heavy lifting, assembly, certain kinds of repair work. There's a very let me see. I said there were two things that AIs can't really do. One of them is art, which is just to be good at art, robots have to practice as hard or harder than humans do. Mm-hmm. And so they just don't have the free time for it most of the time. If you just plug a command card in a robot girl to have her like be good at painting, it's all got a very same quality to it. It's all very manufactured, right? Like it's like how all those weird, what do they call them? The Google thing where everything looks like Cthulhu's, where they blend images together. Like all of those look roughly in the same style. The Material Girls would have that same problem being an AI. They would basically just copy something. The other thing is programming and robotics repair, because robots are not allowed to build more robots or at least intelligent robots aren't.
Yeah.
Because that's bad. That's how, bad. Considering that in the fiction there has already been an incident where AIs have been subverted by an outside force and used to hurt humans. Humans are very cautious. Like, the robot apocalypse almost happened, so they're like, okay, every robot needs safety features, and they need a human who's supposed to be responsible for them, who we can hold legally accountable, and no robots building their programming robots. Like, robots can train robots. Like, you can have a more experienced model, like, physically explain their job to somebody else, but actually getting in there and being like, okay, we're gonna have a robot fix you. No. Robots can be doctors or nurses, but no, robots can't fix robots, which means human programmers and robotics technicians are very common still. That's a very competitive field to be in. And that's going to be one of the skills as a controller you can pick up.
The fluff is going to get more expanded on as like we come out with more details and skills, because as I said, it's kind of like I feel it's going to be a back and forth kind of thing. It's like, oh, here's some mechanics. Now here's some fluff for the mechanics. Now
there's
mechanics and more fluff, and I'm excited. Like
there's definitely going to be a adversaries discussion section, like probably towards the end of the project, when I actually break into like descriptors that a GM can use for different types of enemies. Like, I know you wanted more description of, like, pro AI rights groups, and I'm like, yeah, that definitely sounds like that's a question that would come up in that section, talking about, like, yes, maybe there are militant robot liberators out there who'd be like, no, robot girls should not fight wars. They should be free to frolic in the fields or something. I don't know. We're robot hippies. And they'll be like, okay, we'll describe, like, what that movement is like.
And like, and that was actually another point. Like, I noticed that I like that. It's like how like Material Girls, they can retire and then get jobs in civilian sectors, and then that made me start wondering. It's like, have Material Girls actually had any positions of authorities over humans? It's like, how do people feel about that? How are there like anti-Material Girl movements? Like
I mean, I noted there are some protests, because there are robots doing the work of humans, but because a mil-spec Material Girl is still built out of mil-spec materials, that usually ends up with a slightly ruffled Material Girl and protesters missing some teeth and with some broken bones. Because they are still allowed to punch you in self-defense. But yeah, the like holding authority over people thing would definitely be very interesting. By default, they mostly do what you'd expect humans to do with robots and replace like low-level stuff. They do garbage work. They man counters. They're waiters and waitresses, because no human actually wants to do that job. Though it does raise a question of, are there robot strippers? I don't know. Probably. I did explicitly note that the current generation of her models are anatomically correct for reasons. So they are bound to whatever your local laws are regarding clothing. But yeah, so actually, like, getting promoted, I don't know. They could definitely have like seniority over other robots. Would
honestly, like, this is,
and I think there's like a conditional authority. Like, if you're in a burning building and a fireman robot comes in to save you, you're probably gonna listen to him, right?
Most likely, yeah.
So that's definitely a thing. Like, robot nurses are explicit. Because, hey, guess what? They have dictionary perfect memory and can have perfectly copied muscle memory skills. So a robot surgeon can perform the surgery perfectly every time. But still needs human authority to be like, yeah, you can cut that person up. Lucky's right. Fluff will be expanded as it goes on. Because there are some aspects to the setting that I mentioned that I did not like fully explain, and I have left open-ended. And quite frankly, I like open-ended writing. Like, am I ever going to explain what's actually up with the Chasma? Probably not, because that ruins the mystery. The whole point is that they are a literally alien force who we don't understand what their motivations are, but we do understand what they're doing, which is they have tried to fuck our shit up. Are they designed to do that? Are they just angry that we poked them? Do they just not understand us at all? The classic question of like, well, these are advanced beings that have come from some other solar system. Do they think we are on the same level as them as all? Like, are they just like, oh, well, these squishy meatbag pests on this planet, let's get rid of them. Like, and that is supposed to be open-ended. That's supposed to be like, eh? Also, I deliberately wrote it so that different Chasma units have different personalities. I explicitly say, was it Chasma M? I think M was the moon one. Chasma M was crazy. And Chasma D is ineffable. And we don't know a lot about Chasma T. Also, in my mind, because of the way the units work, I have always thought of the Chasmas as ladies, the different probes. So if I accidentally refer to one as she, they're space probes, so I don't know if they have proper human gender, but in my mind, the enemies are all ladies too, so they're ladies.
Hey, if all the enemy units in these gacha games are fucking females, so are the Chasma.
Yes, that's basically it. It's like, I've always thought of calling them she when I refer to an individual, so yeah, that's just how I think of them. Is that literal? Eh.
Who knows? Maybe they just took on the form of the first thing that fucking interacted with them.
Mm-hmm. Which is true, because it was Materiel Girl. Also, by the way, this is the reason why Materiel Girls have so many like protocols and stuff. Like, you don't physically they have like access jacks and stuff to like plug in and upload and download stuff, but most of their interfaces are carefully controlled. Like, if you want to get access to the AI core with the command cards and the processor chips and everything, the inhibitor chip, you have to, like, literally get into the chest cavity. Which is a thing and a half. And stuff like that. Though, yes, the Tank Girl story also describes that, like, she's carrying an experimental fusion reactor that, to avoid the design being stolen, will totally explode if you try and poke it. Which, she considers it for a second, letting the enemy get up close and then just get blasted. But it would be like, but then, that would be very hot. I would be on backup power and I'd probably melt something. So let's just do something smart instead.
Oh, I did want to note that, when I was reading that, like, I could, when I was reading it, it's like, yeah, this is definitely Omega's writing, because I remember, what was the point? Oh, yeah, it was, when, she got back to the command van, and the controller gave her the root beer, she was all like, ah, yes, man thing, give me what I want. I was like, that's definitely Omega. Like, 100%. That bit of sarcastic cynicism. Yep.
So, yeah, everybody loves, but that's why I like writing first person anyway, is so you can do that first person smart ass writing. Because the Tank Girl has some zingers.
Oh, yes, she did.
But she's still got that fucking rock in her shoe. God damn it.
I love the rock in the shoe. Like, personally, I thought that was good. I thought it was really good. I also like that she's kind of fucking tsundere.
Yeah, a little bit, but not in like an exaggerated anime way, but in just like a on the one hand, I'm a big, strong tank girl, but on the other hand, I also still like things, people. I have a life. It was...
Like, God, Tankerland is fucking boyish charm. And his annoying care for me. Damn you.
Yeah. It's cute how concerned he is, despite the fact that I don't think I explicitly mentioned her height, but the tank girl she is spiritually implicitly inspired, one, by an M1 Abrams. But also, two, like, she's tall. She is the highest class of land-based unit. I am imagining she's basketball tall. She's like 6'4", 6'6". Outside of armor.
You mentioned Amazon at some point.
Yes, a couple of times. She thinks very highly of herself. She calls herself explicitly a goddess of war a couple of times. Honestly, this characterization was heavily influenced by A, stuff I've watched, like Generation Kill and stuff, and B, actual guys I met in college who had come back from the Middle Eastern wars. Like, there is a certain amount of bravado to her, which is like, yes, I am the most advanced military machine on the planet. These guys are in the middle of, literally at one point she calls it fuck-offistan.
Yep.
And just that, like, that casual level of, yes, I am the best thing here. I don't want to be here, but I'm going to kick ass while I'm here, kind of thing, which was taken a lot from people I met and nonfiction stories I observed about what soldiers are actually like. So she's dismissive of the enemy for the most part. She is very, very fond of herself, thinks of herself very highly, and really doesn't want to be in this fucking desert. I always thought that was I liked, the instant I thought of it, I liked this personality quirk that she says that I am a tank girl. I am an armored vehicle based unit. It is my instinct to be as protected as possible at all times. So her natural instinct is to layer up. Like, she would really like to be in, like, you know, an armored vest and maybe, like, a hoodie or something. And technically it was at night, so she could have done more, but she's also got a very warm reactor and an engine on her back, so it's not like, no, you cannot bundle up in insulated clothing, you will explode. Which is why she doesn't like the desert. She would much prefer to be someplace cool where she could wear a couple layers. So no, the various war machines are not instinctively skimpy clothed. That's on you as a designer. That's your own fault. Which also, honestly, because that is one thing I do like, is there is a wide variety of aesthetics and designs in a lot of these games, right? Like, you know, you have different types of costumes and stuff, different layers of, like, formality and so on. There are alternate skins, of course, which switch that up. But a lot of them do have, like, some of them have really weird, like, we've talked before about, which handgun is it in Girls Friendline that's a cat girl and also a nun?
Oh, God.
I don't remember which one.
She's the prankster.
But yeah, that's a thing, right? Like, that's weird. That's a weird costume choice from a practical standpoint.
You're a lolly, you're a nun, you're a cat girl, and you like pranks. Okay. Yeah,
like,
dartboard.
But there are also, like, there are in Azur Lane a lot of the Royal Navy girls have, like, the very formalized uniforms and stuff, whereas a lot of the American, the Eagle Union units are, like, they show a little bit more skin, but they're dressed in, like, sporty type wear.
Yeah.
Every single Sakura girl has ears or horns or something. Some of which are adorable.
Have something inspired by, like, something like historical or even, like, modern, like, Japanese,
but
uniforms.
So, like, that's something I want to keep in this is I'm going to try and suggest that there's a lot of variability in designs. Like,
I think, like, honestly, I think it would be best if they were kept thematic.
Mm-hmm.
And you have some wiggle room within that, because otherwise you might just get some, like, as you might get cat ear, nun, girl, lolly, prankster,
mm-hmm.
you might get scoped tomahawk.
Yeah. I would say that I used CZ for the first time. I finally bought my 6th echelon. I used it for the first time. The tomahawk's fucking crazy. It's hilarious. Because it's
But-
basically like how rifles have that skill to do like double damage in a big shot. She throws a fucking tomahawk and it comes back to her too. It's hilarious. But yeah, no. Unfortunately, I think in the fiction that other than is like an accessory, maybe ears, maybe, but in general, like most of the Komodo Mimi and other like animalistic traits, I don't think that makes sense. Like, keep in mind, there's still a caveat that there's technically a military or something somewhere, a private corporation bankrolling this. So I don't know, maybe the Japanese would be like, of course you stick horns on the girl and give her cat ears. Like, that's perfect sense. But like, there are going to be a lot of guys. There's going to be old dudes and old ladies in uniforms in your budget committee going, why does this girl have a giant horn in the center of her head? Oh, it's intimidating.
Remember, this is the future. Think of people now, like, and like the nerd culture now being in charge of decisions in the future. Fuck yeah, they put animal ears on girls. You'd be like,
we'll see. But at the same time, it's like I said, like as an accessory, sure, but like fundamentally designing them into the construction, I'm gonna be like, I don't know. That doesn't scream military industrial complex to me.
I don't know. Maybe there's like aftermarket mods.
Probably that can be a thing because there's going to be a lot. I want there to be lots of little like mods and choices you can get and stuff.
So maybe they don't do anything mechanically, but aesthetically.
And Tank Girl definitely calls to that. There are a couple of things like you can definitely buy her tokamak reactor as like, yes, you can put a high yield fusion reactor in there. It'll be more efficient than other kinds of fueled stuff, but yes, also if it breaks too hard, it'll explode because there's a magnetic pinch in there.
Whoop.
So please do not break it. And some of the other like options, like I mentioned a unit that's looks like a marksman, but she's got like an anti-tank rifle. That'll be an upgrade you can purchase. You can get like an anti-material kit and upgrade to like, okay, you don't just have a marksman rifle, you have an actual anti-armor weapon that'll actually hurt heavier armored girls. You don't have to just make cold shots. Because there are a couple of like squishy vulnerable points. Like the eyes, the throat, stuff like that. You can really ruin somebody's day. But unless you're using like real shit ammo, it's hard to hurt them. Let's see, we talked about this for like an hour. Which wasn't necessarily my intention, but I also knew I like to talk.
Yeah. As I said, I don't know, I've just been actually, like, I've been writing a bit. I read some manga, played some Azur Lane. I kept busy.
It's good. I hope people enjoyed it. Some people have said they like our fluff discussions, and I will try and link all this so you guys can read on your own and give your thoughts.
It's good stuff. I was like, I left comments, like, all throughout the document with ideas, because I just didn't want to, like, post it all into the channel. I wanted, like, because I wanted him to... Because, like, I was thinking about doing this, like, no, it'd be better if I just do it so he'll know exactly what I'm talking about and where.
Yes, exactly. That's also, the where point is super critical, because that's, like, that helps me actually associate. I have left some of your comments up as, like, reminders to myself, like, yes, that's a thing I want to address later, specifically.
Yeah. And those things I'm probably going to more, because I'm kind of, like, as a, this weekend, I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know how busy I'm gonna be because tomorrow, guess what? We're gonna be recording Let's Talk After Go. Everyone's gonna hear my shameful story about NeroFest.
Well, it's okay because I got my own shameful story about the channel and NeroFest to tell.
Oh man. But other than that, like in editing that later, like I'm like feeling like editor Lucky mentioned it in the video. Just could not deal with life. I'm feeling a bit better. I'm hoping I can get some solid sleep.
Sleep is good.
And I can crack out the video quickly because like real talk, I'm not gonna lie, most of them I haven't been watching my animes mostly because last weekend I got Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think I mentioned that. I mentioned that it had arrived, but last weekend I got it. I beat it that weekend. Like I told like my coworkers and they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wanted to play it." But I still have Dragon Quest 11, and like if you guys probably don't follow my Twitter. I think I only got like 26 followers, so probably not. But like if you've been watching that, aside from me retweeting Japanese artists and memes, I've been posting Dragon Quest 11 screenshots because I am dying from this game. It is fucking amazing. I love it. I've like put in like 60 hours, I think, so far, and I'm probably gonna put in even more. And unfortunately, I keep going back to that when I should be doing other things like art and watching anime. I am so behind on my anime right now. Like I finished Island.
Because I was tired. Oh, I was leaning back far away from my microphone, so I sounded far away for a second there. Like I haven't even watched like Persona 5 yet for this last week. I watched Boku no Hero because I'm like, okay, this is gonna be real good, and it was. Oh my god, they brought the animation back.
Good.
That fucking I love that. I love that work. I'm a little sad they've only got like a couple episodes left, but then I know the next arc is really good, so the season will be really interesting when it comes back.
Is so good.
Yeah, there'll be a delay. Maybe I can catch up on other stuff when Boku ends. But yeah, I'm like super behind. I've been sitting on the same episode of Anglemon and Banana Fish forever. I'll get there eventually. There's a couple Netflix shows I want to watch.
Oh, but like, to let you know, Banana Fish is going on into the next course, so it's gonna be like 24 episodes. So
okay,
like...
well that's fine then. I can just keep catching up.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes binging is easier because when you get in the right mood to just keep going, you can power through some stuff.
See, honestly, like my major issue with watching anime is I like watching anime on my TV, not my computer. Because if I'm on my computer, I'm multitasking. I'm always I'm multitasking right now. I literally have manga up right now as I'm talking.
What you reading?
And so if it's not on Crunchyroll, or Netflix or something, it's hard for me to watch it. Like Banana Fish, like there's like 7 or 8 anime titles I'm trying to catch up to, but I can only watch them on my computer via Witchcraft. And I just can't do it. And it's like, oh my god, computer, why are you have so much stuff for me to do?
So theoretically, you could probably like meet a server that to your PS4. I've done that before, but not with anime. Actually, I'm kind of the reverse. Like, I like to watch anime on my computer to like physically sit down in a chair and be able to like work with it. I don't like TV. I really don't like TV controls with my PS4 and stuff on my TV. They're okay for like YouTube and stuff, but like anime and stuff where I might like, okay, I want to definitely skip back a little bit, or like, all right, I'm gonna shave like 5 seconds out of this scene that I don't care about.
Like I never had a problem with that, but now that you mentioned the media share, I was like, oh, maybe.
But yeah, no,
I'm gonna see if I can.
But that means I need to be in a mood to like sit up and stare at my computer, which definitely kills it sometimes. Like I said, I've been like super tired. Though there were a couple of things I did read. So one of these, I was inspired by somebody in the Discord. They actually asked about it. So I have been rereading History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi.
Oh, yeah,
the manga. Because I fucking love that manga. And
I know I got far in it. I don't know if I actually finished it though.
Hold on, let me check. I can check exactly how many chapters it is. It's 583 chapters. To be fair. Currently, I'm up to chapter 181 in my reread. But yeah, no, I really love the manga. I read it a long time ago, and then I actually was just reading it as it came out for a while. But I just really like it, like the aesthetics and the design, the art. The author's really good at both his art style and his actual story writing style.
My favorite thing about that, like, it's like I should read it. I don't know if I can, like, I don't know if I have time. I'm like behind on my manga too. That's why I'm reading it now.
Yeah, no, like I totally understand that. I used to read a lot of manga, and then I stopped because I'm like, fuck, I read too much manga. Now I mostly just reread a couple of a series every now and again, like how I reread some novels. My top 2 rereads, by the way, are History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi and Air Gear. Like when I'm in a mood, I will reread those.
I gotta see if Trinity Bjorg, whatever it's called, Bjorg.
And at some point in my life, I should probably go back and read Mahou Sensei Negima, because I don't think I ever actually physically finished reading that.
I did. Because you gotta read...
The ending got a little belabored. I'll be real. We seemed to not be climaxing, and then suddenly we're like, oh, are we actually? This is actually going to be the end of the thing? And then it was kind of just like, God, this is taking forever.
What are we? Are we like romantic comedy? Are we action? What is this?
I think the transition is funny because, like I said, I read Love Hina before, so I think it was funny to like Akamatsu's editors wanted him to basically do, put that lightning back in the bottle, as it were, and do that exact same story again. And he was like, no, fuck you, action.
It's like, guess what? And
Magic.
Firework Trilogy is still updating. Oh,
yeah.
Great. I guess you're still going.
Mazen's Ninja animation got me into a lot of magic using tropes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, so that's another one I should probably go back and do. But like I said, I do Air Gear a lot, and I do Kenichi, because I like martial arts movies and stuff.
Honestly, like, one of the mangas that is, like, actually finished, that this might not have heard about it, but it's called, well, there's two. One is called, Goodnight Poon Poon, which is a really kind of dark and disturbing tale told through a caricature of, like, this little tiny creature. Like, I can't even describe it. Like, it's good. But the other one is called Angel Densetsu, where I can describe this one a little bit better. It's basically a high school story where this new kid comes in. And he looks like he doesn't literally look like the fucking devil, but he looks really fucking scary. Except he's a fucking pure-hearted, like, angelic character who just wants to do good things and help people. And everyone's just so fucking terrified of him. And through just, like, the weirdest amounts of, like, misunderstandings and coincidences, he ends up becoming the boss of the school and starts, like, taking on other high schools. And he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's just trying to help people. It's so amazing. Like, it's old. Like, the art style is pretty old, too. But it's, like, one of those ones, like, I'm just gonna sit down. It's, like, I don't know if, like, there's any other manga that I can actually, like, sit down and just reread than those two.
Yeah, I tend to reread in spurts. And also, for me, it's weird. Reading is usually easier on my brain than watching, because watching is also reading, like for subs and stuff. Yeah. And, like, sometimes playing games is... So, like, reading is something I can almost always do, no matter how tired I am. Writing is also like that, even if I shouldn't. It's just like I've said before, the writing bug takes me, and I write.
I might just reread it again.
But yeah, so somebody in our Discord mentioned it. They'd actually been watching the anime, but the anime only covers up to, like, chapter 100 or something.
Yeah.
Even though it's a fairly long. I think it's like 50. It was 2 seasons. It was like 50 episodes. It still only covers, like, the first major story arc of the series, which makes sense because, as per usual, the manga wasn't done when the anime was in production. Mm-hmm. I personally never watched it just because of that, because I was like, oh, I know this isn't the full story. I started reading the manga first, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch the anime, but I also really just like the manga. There's no real reason to necessarily go out there and take up that extra time to do it.
That's why I thought was really impressive about Ancient Magus Bride is, honestly, like, they literally, like, ended the anime, like, right where the manga was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, currently.
I think their ending
manga
was
kept
a little...
going.
Their ending was a little good. It was a little assumptive, but I'm sure that they were able to talk to the mangaka and be like, okay, what do you plan on doing? Because our episode's going to come out right as you publish this.
Like, yeah, and it was, like, still spot on.
They paced it perfectly so that the anime would end when an arc ended, and it looks like it could be the end, but you also could always come back and make more, which I kind of hope they do when there's more manga, because Ancient Magus Bride is just beautifully made.
Oh, dude, man, no, dude, no, they've gone school setting now. It's great. Fucking Chisei has now a student. Ainsworth is now a teacher. It's fucking amazing. I love it.
Nice. But yeah, no, like, just the way the anime was made was just beautifully handled. God. The art and the music was so top-notch. Also, like, it's funny, right? Like, how we've talked about this before, like, the Japanese often have a certain take on Western aesthetics. That author nailed a lot of stuff. Like, the way fairies are handled is perfect. That is very much how those actual traditional stories go. Oh, it's so cute. You think Titania's on your side, but no. Fairies have a very particular way of solving things. It is not necessarily good or human. But yeah, no, like, it's very well made from, like, a folkloric standpoint.
Yeah, that person did the research.
Mm-hmm. I always love that. I always love when people do their research. not that you have to do your research 100%, because if you have an interesting approach to a concept that is a different way than people have gone before, that's cool too. It's just like there's a balance between like being exactly like something and then being your own interpretation. Oh, speaking of which, though, I should mention the other thing I read, and this is actually what kind of caused me to do my meal skip because I was busy reading it, was... So, I found a Dresden Files fan novel. It's basically a fan fiction, but it was... The way I read it and the way it is available, it's basically available as a PDF in novel format. It's like 300 pages. It's called Fair Vote. And I read all of it over the weekend. It's very good. It's set in Miami. So that's a personal thing. While I live in Central Florida now, for a few years when I first moved to Florida, I lived in Miami-Dade County. Not in Miami itself, but I lived in the county, and I've been there a couple times. So that was very interesting to see that type of it. And it hits a lot of those ideas pretty good, I think, how Florida's kind of weird. Miami in particular is kind of weird. So it was really good to see a lot of those themes and stuff. And it was an interesting approach. The main character is Tibetan in ancestry, so he uses Occidental style magic. So he talks about like the Tibetan system is apparently the same as the Chinese wuxing system. So that was really interesting to see those kind of concepts. And they I think had a fairly researched take. There were like a couple of small like continuity errors with the actual novel series, but in general it was a really good read, and it hit a lot of the points that I like in the Dresden Files. So that was very interesting to see. And if you've got some time, it's only 300 pages, so it's definitely a good check out. Fair Vote. And actually, let me just link you to the PDF, Lucky.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, no, it was just a good read, and I thought that consumed a decent chunk of my time, so it...
And so I've been wanting to reread Codex Alera since you mentioned it. I was like, God, man, it's a good series. Taval.
Uh-huh.
And... What else have I been wanting? I guess I've just been wanting to do a lot of fucking stuff this week, and I'm like, I don't have time. I miss the days when I worked. Like, I wasn't making as much money, but sometimes I miss the days when I only worked, like, 6 hours a night, 4 nights a week. Like, God, like... Time is precious, people. Like... I'm not saying you, like, micromanage your time, but, you know, definitely, like, set aside some time to do the things that you actually want to do.
Mm-hmm. And this is especially, like, we talk about channel stuff a lot. This is especially important. Don't be afraid to take breaks. Like, I haven't done as much as I wanted to. Part of that is because I recorded an episode. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and record a lot of Extel. Oh, I finished an arc. Whoops. So, yes, I'm definitely... we finished Flame Poem. I'm definitely sometime over the weekend, maybe, depending on what we do, or maybe early next week. Hopefully, I won't be tired this time. I will sit down and record a couple episodes back-to-back and build a backlog. But for now, there's a whole arc that's completed you can check out. Which, like I said, I know it's more for the quote-unquote true ending, the golden ending, but a lot of people are way too easy on Nero in like, they take shots at Nero for like, how perfect and everything our arc is. As the very first arc, Flame Poem fucking sucks. Like, it's tragic. Like,
oh god, the ending, no!
You win, but you lose. Basically, right? Like, okay, you beat everybody, but you don't actually fix your problem. You're still split. You are on a limited time budget. Archimedes just fucks off in time. You never catch Castor to even, like, bargain for the other chunk back. Like, it's really rough and sad. It has a very sad end card. And people are just because Nero wins doesn't mean she wins, right? Like, it's... People
she literally is laying... like, has put you on the throne, is waiting for you to wake up forever.
Yes, and you stir a little bit a couple of times, but it's very much implied, like, you're spending a lot of your time just chilling out sleeping because you have to. Because you're just a mind.
You can't support, like...
Yeah, no, it's weird. We should also mention this in the show, not that I think anybody who follows us doesn't know, but... The thing we did with voice came out already. It was much faster. I think it's because he got an assistant editor.
Yeah, lucky him.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you want to split the Patreon money 3 ways, because he pays his editor.
Hell no.
And I do pay you,
like,
technically.
Real talk, I like editing. I want to get better at it. As I said, time management. Not being... Just like you mentioned, like, taking breaks. Like, honestly, I was considering saying, like, like honestly considering like asking if we want to skip recording this week and just take some fucking R&R. I was like, nah, I'm gonna push through.
I mean, we could, but we probably should just. We can go ahead and just do. We can do the show, and if the show's short, the show's short. That's how it is.
Yeah, but it's like
we can cover the news informatively, and I think we can discuss the discussion topics. But like, as much as people have pushed for longer episodes, and we've pushed for longer episodes, at the same time, don't do stuff just because you feel like you have to do stuff. Like, you can relax and like lean back. And I've been thinking about that a lot this week because I've been tired, and I'm like, fuck, I physically am not able to like put my mind to work on some of these problems. Right? It's hot. I'm tired. I can't do it. The product will not be good. So don't force yourself. And take breaks when you need to. Take a second to refresh yourself physically and mentally. De-stress. Do stuff you want to do. Get back your inspiration. Inspiration is key a lot. Like, I have been working on Materiel Girls, I think, so much because the inspiration is there for me right now. Like, the spark that lets me write this stuff is here. And sometimes that spark's not there. And if the spark goes away, well, your project's shit out of luck. You can't do anything without that spark. And some people can manufacture the spark. Like, some people can summon up their creative energy. I don't think I can do that. Not a lot of people can do it. You work on what you can work on. But I was going to wrap this around because that video came out, which was good. I liked it a lot. I feel sad that I had to talk quite so much because I can tell points where just my connection was cutting out, so I'm cut off a little bit in a couple of key places, which makes it sound weird to me, because I know, I'm like, okay, I spoke a full sentence there, but it was like 2 sentences in the way it came out over the internet connection. So I feel sad a little bit that I had to do all the talking. But the finished product is good. His editor did a good job.
Like
but
talking. And we were trying to keep ourselves from talking over each other and stuff, which I think was kind of important, because otherwise there would have been a lot of stop and starting and like, oh no, you go ahead and all that crazy stuff. I think it flowed better, like having you do most of the exposition, I guess it would be.
That means I'll probably be doing it when we do a sequel, which we probably will do at some point. Because I know that his voice has gotten some suggestions from like the comments. I've read a couple of the comments and thought of some stuff, but there's definitely a certain amount of the Fate fan base in general they're like the DBZ fandom. They're obsessed with power levels and making sure their guy is the most power level. So like, I think that's why some people are hard on Nero, because explicitly and implicitly, she's not actually supposed to be that strong. Like, her parameters are low. Like, she cheats to do a lot of stuff she does. So it's like, oh, but she wins anyway because of love and passion. That's dumb. That's not how power levels work. But that is how storytelling works sometimes, and that's a very Japanese thing. Have you watched animus like DBZ and stuff? No, like, it's totally... proper application of willpower and passion is how you accomplish everything in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So, like...
Why do you think they scream for so fucking long?
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, no, like, that's why Nero can win, is because she has the willpower and passion to follow through, even if she doesn't have the physical ability, which is just as important as physical ability in a lot of these stories.
Honestly, it's like one of my favorite things in I guess I say Japanese style storytelling is like literally going beyond your limits in a moment of crisis. It's like one of my favorite fucking tropes.
Oh yeah, no, that's really cool, and I love a good approach to it. Like the idea that you're not done yet. You got a little bit more in the tank, which is true. Like, people do amazing things under pressure. Like, people always talk about like mothers flipping cars and shit.
Like, my specific is when you basically, you literally burn yourself to do it. Like, yeah, you're going to do it, but you're going to fuck yourself up over afterwards. Like, that kind of trade-off.
Yeah, no, that's what I really like about My Hero Academia, is like that realization that Deku has the mental chutzpah, the fortitude to do some of his, especially early on before he figures out how to use his power smarter. He has the balls and the guts to do some crazy shit with his ability, even though it'll kick his ass completely.
I don't know about you, but every once in a while I go back to the fucking Deku and Todoroki fight during the fucking
so well
tournament.
animated. I fucking love that. I do that too. There are a couple of anime that I have just lying around, and there are a couple of sequences that I would sometimes just watch. One of them is Shiro versus Gil, just because that's also a beautiful climax moment. And the other is
kind
the
of
sports
another
festival.
moment of someone surpassing their limit.
Mm-hmm. And surpassing them in a way that I think it's pretty explicit that Shiro cannot, at least in this time period, he cannot use unlimited blade works that way again. It will.
Nope.
He will have to level up some more to do it on his own. But in that moment, he is strong. But yeah, no, I feel like there are some people in the Fate fandom who are just obsessed with like the fighting and the power levels and like the fact that Gil is supposed to be super ultimate, but he never fucking puts in the work. Like I feel like there's going to be a little disclaimer if we do a sequel, which will be like, yes, guys, in case you didn't catch it from the first time we said that. Yeah, no, we understand that Gil can be pretty scary, but the problem is that Gil never goes 100%. If he actually went 100%, yeah, sure, he'd win, but then there'd be no discussion. So we talk about that point from before Gil realizes he's getting his ass beat and goes 100%. And can somebody pull off a Shiro or an Artoria or a Dark Sakura? Because, hey, guess what? Gil doesn't win any of the 3 canonical routes of Fate Stay Night. Guys, it's a fact. It happened. He loses every time, one way or the other. So, like, are there people who can catch him in that moment and beat him? Yes. And, yeah.
As I said, like, voice of, you guys were discussing it a little bit. I'm just saying, yeah, we'll just probably, like, if we do part 2, we'll just address these as we go. Mm-hmm. But there have been suggestions for other servants in there. And I was like,
some of which I'm like upset we didn't pick, like Dantes. That would be a really obvious one. Because quite frankly, Dantes is almost as much of as a weird, over-the-top extra wank as Gil is. Like, he does some dumb, weird stuff, but in a fun way.
Yeah, and there's some people who did some clarification, like on, what was it? Archer Herc. Mm-hmm. On, like, how, like, he isn't actually divine.
Yeah, no, like, but, and that's something that didn't come across very clearly, I think, in the way we ended up talking about it, but I even posted a response comment to one of those people. When I wrote the notes, Herc was a hypothetical Archer Heracles, like, not Alcides, who is Herc Alter, basically. He is a Herc who has been physically altered. He's got some weird double-class stuff that changes his parameters and gives him even extra skills. So I took kind of the ideal of the unrealized Archer Herc and applied them and been like, yeah, so, like, hypothetically, he might have these elements. But when we talked about the discussion, we leaned into much more what has Alcides canonically done in Strange Fake? Which, honestly, that discussion has really just made me realize that, at least from what I understand of reading it, I'm not sure I like Strange Fake a lot.
I'm not sure if I want to touch it, like, honestly. I hear, like, so many weird things about it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, conceptually, a lot of its ideas seem interesting. Some of its characters seem very interesting, but just the way I've heard the writing style described and some of the way these things are used, like reading plot summaries and stuff, it sounds like there's a lot of excuses just to have even more over-the-top bullshit Fate fights. And you might be like, oh, but that's what Fate is about. But I'm like, but most of those were, like, interesting or tied to certain ideals, and, like, there's a lot of logic to them in these matchups. And just Strange Fake sounds like it's just being weird and over the top and powerful just so we can write more weird over the top scenes.
Excuse me, Fate is about heroes, wishes, and destiny.
Exactly. Which,
like, I don't know, like I still watch the Essentials of Fate like once.
Yes, I notice. Someday I turn on the PS4, I open up YouTube, and I'm like, why is Essentials of Fate up at the top of the history line again?
Unfortunately, I forget to switch back to my personal YouTube account. I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, it.
Honestly, like I said, I really don't mind. So I can just cut stuff out of the history if I'm like, well, I don't want this cluttering up any of my algorithms. And I don't even bother most of the time.
It's usually like after like, because what happens is like sometimes I'll go on to the Type Moon FGO because I need to go rip a CM or MP that they posted, and the autoplay is almost always Essentials of Fate. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll watch this again.
Yeah, no, but no, I can tell when Editor Lucky's been working because there are like 5 Noble Phantasm videos lined up, and I'm like, okay. Somebody's been at work. But yeah, no, like I said, like this, just the way it sounds like Strange Fake, and obviously you can be like, well, you should just check it out yourself. But I'm like, but I don't want to. It's not even officially in English. I gotta go like dig it up, and then it's gonna be like, okay, so it's not as bad as I think it is, or it's not as not to my taste as I think. What do I get out of that? It's not even finished.
I wonder if they'll ever do a Strange Fake collab.
It's gonna take forever.
For FGO.
It's gonna take forever because that guy writes like one volume of a light novel a year or worse.
Wow.
It's bad. Their schedule's really slow. I'd have to check when they're published, but they seem to be published very slowly. Like, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember the last time I heard of something new about Strange Fate coming out since we started this enterprise. Like, nobody's bursted into Discord and been like, oh my god, there's a new volume of the actual Strange Fate light novel. Like, I think there's a manga adaptation that's working, and I've seen some postings about, like, new chapters of Case Files, El Miller Case Files, which is the waiver-focused side story, which has light novel and manga adaptation. Like, I've seen people talk about new issues of that coming out. Don't know much about Strange Fake.
Honestly, like,
but yeah, no, like,
they did I want fucking waivers version of Volume 100. The
yes.
Maid.
Yeah, no, that's been described a couple times. It sounds really fun. But yes, no, so we're basically just saying that, like, there are certain aspects of the Fate fandom who are all about the power levels and, like, the
numbers. The
exact numbers, and like, they could definitely be... That's really not how this works, I don't think. Because, like, Gil loses. Gil loses a couple times.
That's just not how fighting works. Like, just because, like... Ingenuity crafting can go a long fucking way on taking down a larger power. Like, the right strength applied at the right time, like...
Yeah. Hard counters to some of Gil's abilities explicitly exist. They are a thing. There could be more. So, we're here to discuss... We're making a discussion video. The whole point is to discuss. If there's a point where just, like... Okay, so if this happened, then Gil would just fill them with the swords and it's over. Then, well, there's no more discussion, guys. We're not going to talk about how awesome Gil is and how many swords you can throw for 5 minutes. That's dumb. That's a shitty video. It's bad and you should feel bad. I'm sure many of those videos already exist. Hell, arguably, the authors of Gilgamesh do that already. They get out their big fluffers and just... Because really, it feels like Gil's wanked off a lot. Like, I remember somebody made a comment about how they said that Nobu's ability can't actually get Gil because they said so in Kona Haste. But I'm like, oh god, but that's so dumb. That's such a power wank rollback. That's like, you were the way Demon King of Sixth Heaven is described is that absolute power over divinity and mystery. So, like, for the authors to be like, oh, but not really, because Gil's too mystery and too divine. It doesn't work. I'm like, oh, but that's just so lame. That's such lazy writing to just roll back the rules because you don't want to imply to nerds that Gil can lose. Just, he can lose. He explicitly loses. Don't feel like you need to block other characters to make Gil seem better. He's already really good. He could really win if he tried 100%. And we will probably have a very similar disclaimer at the start of if we do a follow-up video.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. People still won't listen.
No. But yes, we'll see. But that was fun. That was a good thing we did. And it came out ending.
I won't lie. I keep looking at our subscriber count, like, hoping we're going to get that big jump like we did last time. And it hasn't happened.
I mean, not as explosively, but we definitely went up like 20 or 30 subs overnight. Not like hundreds like the last time, but definitely a much bigger jump than normal for us.
It was also kind of weird that he posted the video at like 1:30 his time.
Yeah, he posted it in the middle of the night, so I don't know. We'll see if it gets circulation.
Let me go check YouTube again. Because I'm like nervous because we're so fucking close to that 1,000. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, and that'll really help us out when we transition over. And of course, the voice isn't even listening to us right now because he's streaming. He apparently saved all 7 challenge quests for last. So yeah, we're at
I don't even want to try.
956. And the date is probably not going to be. So can you tell me how many subs we got?
Unfortunately, like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't come into this episode with a lot to talk about. I said, so I'm just like, I don't know. I can talk about maybe like, well, actually no. Here's something. Summer is over. Like, first day of fall. Let me double check. I know it's like pretty fucking close here.
I mean, you're saying summer is over, and I'm just thinking like I'm pretty sure it's still 90 degrees outside.
Well, guess what? First day of fall is September 22nd.
Somebody better call Mother Nature.
Frickin'. As I said, tomorrow I'm going out. I'm getting me a fucking pumpkin spice latte. I'm getting me some pumpkin pie and whipped cream. Actually, what is the weather going to be like tomorrow? Is it enough to wear a jacket?
Now he's talking about the weather.
I want to wear a jacket. I miss wearing fucking
the weather, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh my god, no, it's going to be still fucking warm. God fucking damn it. Oh well, it's still cooling.
Yes.
Anyway.
Global warming. Foils
God,
your cutesy plans. Anyway.
But what the trend of the season means, we're gonna be getting new anime, and there are a few that I am like super hyped about.
That's good, because I'm so behind on anime, I have like no idea what's coming in the future.
I already told you about Goblin Slayer. I kind of sold you on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it and see if it's to my taste, but like we'll see how the anime actually turns out.
Yeah. Second season of Golden Kamuy is coming out.
Shit, I still haven't caught up.
Hope as fuck. It's gonna be good. Another one that I'm personally excited for is as Beelzebub Wishes, which is gonna be my healing anime, which I'm just gonna watch when I need something cute and fluffy. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that I kind of know of. Like Trigger's doing another one. It's called SSSS Gridman. Looks like a mecha.
Oh yeah, I remember they talked about that like forever ago.
Yeah,
I think it's got like. That'll be interesting to see. What's up with Trigger? They're always a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Trigger. Let's see, new seasons of a certain magical index. Next season of Tokyo Ghoul. We got our isekai anime of the season is Tensai Shitara Slime Dakaken, which is basically a guy gets reincarnated to a slime and does a whole bunch of cool shit because why the fuck not? You're a slime.
I did, by the way. I want the audience to know. I rolled my eyes. Just so you guys know. I felt like somebody had to. That's okay. We've talked about this, like how especially. Would you say it's fair to say, especially the fantasy trope isekai? That's like you genuinely love that genre.
Yeah.
Like I've said this, I feel that way about urban fantasy. Like just I don't know, there's magic shit happening in a city. That's cool. I like that.
Actually, I have no idea what you're talking about because you cut out for most of it.
Wait, I'm just talking about you. You love genres, but I said that I rolled my eyes, but no, like you appreciate the idea of the genre at least.
Yeah. Like I said, like my light novel I'm on is a isekai story. It's just I keep getting contaminated with other ideas, and I'm like, man, this is really cool, and I'm like, no, and it's hard.
Yeah, that's hard. Sorry, I yawned.
The creative process. It's okay. We got the next season of JoJo Bizarre Adventure coming out, the 5th story arc. People are super hype about that. And let's see here. There's some weird fucking titles. Like, there's this one called being done by Gonzo called Conception, where a guy has to get girls pregnant so they can summon monsters that can, like, destroy other monsters. I'm like, what?
This sounds probably exploitative.
Yeah. Then there's another one which looks fairly shonen eye about a guy who's like the most huggable, and this other guy gets blackmail material and uses it to blackmail him for physical affection. I'm like, I'm slightly intrigued by this.
Yeah.
What else? Let me. As I said, it's like I see some of these. Oh my god! Here's the one that shocked me. Do you remember the Ingress app, the Ingress game that was like the big wave, like before like Pokemon Go?
No. That is a negative, sir.
Okay. Well, they're coming out with an anime for that.
Oh, they are. I know. Here's something that's relevant that I just remembered. There was a preview for an Azur Lane anime.
Oh yeah. I think I'm actually really excited about that. They look like, because I didn't like the Concoli anime that much. It just seemed too cute girls doing cute things.
Yeah, but no, you need to have some fucking action scenes in there. That's why I like Strike Witches, because it's when they're trying anyway, they have some very interesting aerial battle scenes.
Yeah, but the Azur Lane, it seems like they're taking a more serious take, although I think there might be transformation scenes, and those might... I remember Hood, like, specifically, like, summoning guns off a ship and equipping him. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, they're gonna have to come up with visual cues for mechanics in the game, which don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're gonna explain anything at all about some stuff, because they look like they are real full-size planes, but... How big are the girls? Are still girl-sized, guys. I don't. Azur Lane confuses us a lot.
Like there are literally scenes of girls standing on top of ships. I was all like, then how? What? Excuse me.
We'll see. I guess we'll see if the anime's any good. Hopefully, they gave it a lot of budget so it can be very pretty.
I think it is. I did notice something that made me laugh is a lot of, like, when they were showing the stills of the different factions, they were literally the same sprites that are used in their actual, like, in-game art. When they were showing the Iron Blood, like, I specifically noticed Graf Zeppelin doing the exact, like, doing her same pose in the game. I was all like, did they just cut and paste these?
Possibly. I mean, if they've got the legal rights to those assets, then why the fuck would you not? The art's... a lot of the girls have very good art that's very distinctive.
Oh my god, I love Azur Lane so much.
It's such a great game.
I'm
also playing it right now. I am. Lucky, I'll tell you a secret that the audience has known for quite some time. Today's background image is the screen grab I took of me building Atago. to bring back a classic trick of what's up. So yes, I built Atago. I've gotten like 4 vampires, I don't know. Still no Prince of Wales, rip, but I'm trying. But apparently they're gonna have their color red event, so...
I'm wondering if we're, like, on some sort of accelerated schedule, because we are doing a lot of shit.
Yeah, like, right now we've got, like, 3 stuff, but also, a bit like Girls Frontline, most of the events are, like, nothing. They're like, okay, do 2 quests a day. Like, if you do them for 10 days, you get a skin. And some other rewards and stuff. Like, a lot of these are, like, nothing events. Some of them have, like, dialogue scenes, which is kind of cute to show off stuff.
Yeah, I know, so it's, like,
the school thing is cool because, oh my god, some of those fucking skins for, like Hiryu and Soryu. Oh my god.
It's so funny. But I'm also, like, speaking of gacha games, like, I decided I'm gonna spend money on Girls Frontline, because the more I think about it, the more I just don't think it's worth it, because... Like, FGO, you spend money, you get quartz, you can get a badass fucking servant. You can take that into battle, you can kick people's ass. I can justify that as, like, you know, an expense towards a potential. And Azur Lane, I can spend money and automatically get whatever skin I want. If I do it soon enough, I can get it at a fucking discount.
Mm-hmm. And like we said before, they're pretty cheap. They're like, it's like 10 to 15 bucks, I think, per skin at full price without the discount. And also, I mean, it's very possible just on monthlies and stuff, you can totally earn enough to buy them, to buy just a couple of them free. Yeah. And most of them are permanent.
Girls Frontline. Yeah. In Girls Frontline, like, I've already bought, like, most of the things. I have 8 echelons, 4 dorms. I've unlocked, like, a 3rd slot for, like, fucking, like T-doll production and equipment production. I think I have up to 140 T-doll slots. Like, I've sunk some money into this, so now I've just been buying tokens. I'm not getting any return investment on those tokens, because the more I think about it,
as a free-to-play, I bought fucking tokens. It's, oh my god, it's so worthless. Furniture's cool.
Yeah, furniture's cool. But here's the thing, like, the sets I want... Like, I don't get it. Like, they for, like, this season, they have, like, the Sangre Ferris. Like, I'm like, I fucking want this.
I know. So I'd love it. I've got none of those. I had plenty of tokens saved up, and I have earned quite a few more through just doing stuff. I'm gonna earn more on the bingo card. I just get fucking windows all the time. I get fucking windows. I don't get hardly any costumes.
I've gotten the Party Girl twice. I've spent I have 100 exchange tickets. Guys, that means I have spent over 900 tokens on this. Like, that's like $30 to $40. I've gotten 2 of the same costume, which means I'll get 1 black card, which means I'll have 2 black cards from the beginning of this game. Most costumes cost like 3 to 8 black cards. I'm like, no, this ain't happening.
No, it's just not very good.
It's not very good. So, actually, let me amend this. I actually said this earlier. I'll probably buy the monthly, the monthly card where you basically get 30 gems a day for a month. It costs like $5. So it's like $5. Yeah, it lets me start growth, lets me get a study influx of gem. But
some months they do a bonus. They you get double the gems this month.
Yeah, so sometimes so you know what, that's fine, because guess what? I still might want gems to maybe buy a ring, or maybe I do need to expand. I need more fucking T-doll space because I keep getting more.
Or might go on a mad craze and be like, "Fuck, there's a raid up on production. I want to spend a few gems to get some more contracts or something."
Yeah, so $5.99, 30 gems a day for a month. All right, sure, that's fine. But spending $20 so I can roll like 4 times on the 11, not happening anymore.
As an FTP, I wasted way too many gems buying tokens once. No. I mean, some of the furniture's cool, but it's just, I want the fucking costumes and I don't get them.
Yeah, no.
It's so annoying.
Girls, I'm sorry. I'll save up tokens the free to play way.
It's I recently got Lee Enfield instantly. I love her. She's a lot cooler and nicer to me than NTW was. But
here's the thing.
She's got a couple costumes. No fucking way I'm getting those.
The thing that pissed me off, that made me just said I'm fucking done, is I had 77 fucking exchange tickets. And for some reason I had in my brain that one of the costumes, because I either wanted Lee Enfield's or Grizzly's costume, either one of them, I wasn't sure. And I thought one of them was 100 fucking tickets.
No, they're 300, aren't they?
No, they're one's 200, the other's 300. I'm like, there is no fucking way,
because you can't save exchange tickets. Is the important thing. You can't save exchange tickets up. You have to roll on the specific gacha, and then afterward they turn into tokens. Yeah,
and I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's not gonna do it, because I spent up to get to that 100, because thinking that what it is. I just misunderstood.
Skins are very much their money making mechanic, I think, but it's in the worst whaley way, right? It
really is.
People who have to own every limited 5-star in FGO, you're gonna spend a fuck ton of money. You actually want costumes in Girls Frontline, specific ones, you're gonna spend a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
And it's that's okay, that's how they keep their business afloat, but for us guys who don't want to spend a lot of money on it, we just have to accept fuck.
Well, I have Azur Lane now, which I think is a much better investment for my money.
Because literally, if you want to buy 600, 800 gems and get a fucking skin, you can. It's a one-time purchase. You get the exact amount of gems you need. You buy the fucking skin, and for most of the skins, you can do it anytime you like. Now, I think they specifically said that for the upcoming, they're going to do a lunar event, and the 2 Chinese boats will have moon rabbit skins. They said those will only be available for a certain time period, but swimsuits, the school uniforms, those are all permanent.
The swimsuits, which are all fucking amazing civilization.
They are. Oh my god! If I ever get the money, I'm gonna get Prince hers, because that's really good, and a couple of others. Also, hey, eventually a lot of girls will get free oath skins. So if you can actually get their wedding dresses automatically, and if you buy a ring, you can turn those gems also into a skin, eventually.
Yeah, so it's Azur Lane is fucking top tier, and it's just and looking at it just makes me look at Girlfriend Lane. It's what is even this?
Now that's it. I don't think either of us are going to necessarily stop playing Girls Frontline outright anytime soon.
No.
My enthusiasm for how much I like that game definitely died off pretty quick, though. The gameplay is kind of frustrating a lot of the time. The building girls is kind of frustrating. And like we said, the costumes, getting specific costumes and furniture, getting cosmetics, it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. as I said, we were super hype at the beginning, but now that like I have something
I love the
better to
designs.
compare it to, it's like, oh well, here's where your fucking glares are being super put out there.
I love the design.
Like,
I love the designs. I have to sit up slightly because I want to lean back in my chair. Love the designs, but it's so hard, and I feel like there's not as much interaction as I want with the
like,
girls.
dude, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, fucking Z, like, I was having a real shit day, and I opened up, Azur Lane, and Z23 had just reached her, her love level, so I was like, and she's, oh God, I don't know if I just want to read it, but I think I read it before. I told this before, but like what she said, like made me cheer up like so much better. It's like I'm getting love, like more love and affection from this 2D sprite with a pre-recorded voice than I do in my everyday life, and it's like holy fucking shit. And you don't like necessarily get that in Girls Frontline. You don't get like a lot of positive. Like the girls are very professional.
Their personalities seem pretty. Like I said, the reason why I switched from NTW to Lee Enfield is because even at 100 affection, like I didn't realize I'd maxed out her hearts as NTW for a while, because she says the same stuff, which is she's very standoffish to me. She's like, "Don't stand behind me, Commander. If you touch me, you'll get hurt." I'm like, we've clearly been through a bit, right? Like you've been chilling in a dorm. We've been hanging out. I've been collecting hearts. I've given you gifts. You've been on missions. Like, you're still super harsh to me. Whereas with Azur Lane, as you start, it takes a little bit to get some of those levels up, but as you transition from, like, stranger to, like, friendly, crush, and even love, like, you feel the building in a couple of their different dialogue options, and it, like I said before, Hoods is great. She reads the famous Shakespeare sonnet, and then she's like, "Commander, could you read that back to me?" I'm like, yes, sure. But when I like Lee Enfield's design in Girls Frontline, I immediately put her in, and she's like, "What are your orders, Commander? What do you need? Let's go do stuff." I'm like, yes, perfect. Also, I much prefer your tone of voice. I think I liked NTW's gun more than I like NTW's design. Because, hey guys, I like big guns. I'm not
gonna lie. I like the fact that there is a special touch feature in Azur Lane.
That's hilarious, and it changes depending on your affection levels. Like, if you get high, the girl will be slightly less offended. However, you better be careful because some of them are like, they're...
Oh my God, Hammonds makes me laugh so hard. She literally goes, "Hello, is this the police? There's a pervert here." And I'm like, oh my God.
Washi?
Like, I am dying.
Satsu desu?
Akaki, literally says, "If you so desire, I would not mind if you would take of me in front of the others." Akaki fucking scares me, alright? She, like, you think Kiyohime is bad? Kiyohime is kind of tame when you pay the Akaki.
The fox ladies in Azur Lane seem a little spooky. I gotta be honest. That's why I never went all in on the Foxmans and like, okay, these are super units. They're cool. One of them's red. That's great. But also, they seem a little creepy. I think Atago's gonna be a lot more relaxed.
Akagi has her wedding skin, and her special blurb is, "Why are you struggling, Commander? I had this special chain made just for you." I'm just all like, whoa!
Yeah, no. She comes on strong.
She comes on strong. I kind of like it. Kind of scares the shit out of me, though.
The fear.
I said she's my secretary right now, and she talks about turning. If I did not come back soon, she was going to burn everything down. If she smells another woman on you, she might go kill that woman. If you get her affection down to disappointed, she says, maybe if I cut the commander into little bitty pieces, he will not disappoint me. And I'm just all like, oh.
No, Hood's nice. She's in the beach skin right now, so it's all about, like, not necessarily doing stuff, but she's totally like, "Hey, Commander, you want to watch play volleyball or watch some fireworks?" The scariest she is when she says, "Commander, we're gonna go play some volleyball. The loser has to do a punishment." I'm like, what are you thinking, Hood?
I like Hood's line because like her friendly line because I think it's kind of hilarious. It's like, though I speak of being refined of all times, you not need force yourself, Commander. Your normal self is most charming after all. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm being insulted, but I can't really get mad. What the fuck, Hood?
Hood's great. She's very classy.
That's like honestly, like
a
the
commander.
waifuism in
Commander
fucking...
means a fine understanding of tea. Or in her regular skin, sometimes when you pop back, she'll be like, Commander, you're back. Why don't we have some tea while we talk about the latest battle? I'm like, okay. I mean, I prefer coffee, but sure. I'll drink tea.
Unicorn slays me
every
every time I talk to her. It's like such a precious daughter.
Belfast, I think, is kind of interesting because she's explicitly a Mado, so it's like it's a very interesting to see her dialogue be all like food or dish related a lot of the time. And I think I like Belfast a lot, but she's only friendly with me.
I want Belfast, but I got, like I said, I got Lusty, I got Lustrous, and she's a precious.
I'm also friendly with Prinz. Oh, I just pulled it up, and her friendly Prinz's friendly dialogue is amazing. I just pulled it up, and she's like, "Commander, I love you. Just kidding. Did your heart stop? If I'd been paying
like
closer attention, I might have.
Time.
You trying to prank me, girl?"
Oh god, the boob smush on her swimsuit is fucking amazing.
I'm kind of glad. Especially after Girls Frontline. I'm glad we seem to have gotten the Japanese version of the art assets, which are not censored.
Yeah, or less censored, I should say. They're not. We don't have no lewds here.
Yeah, but they are designs that are skimpier or more direct even in this version. Though that does mean that Indianapolis's nuke is censored. Because in the Chinese version, apparently they don't give a fuck about that, and it's got a literal nuclear trifoil on it. But in the Japanese version, it has a little demon face, which is what we have.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm not super interested in Enterprise in that way anyway, but I'm a little bit disappointed that she doesn't appear to have any special dialogue for Crush level. It's just, you want to check out my metal connection, Commander? I'm like, Enterprise, you're such a dork. You're such a nerd.
No.
Hood's quoting Shakespeare at me, but still, you're like, you want to hang out and look at my medals? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I got from the PvP exercises, I picked Eldritch because thick lilies are great, and she's one of those types who doesn't say a lot of things, and so usually you just kind of like you actually like add on some like little tidbit yourself. And for Eldritch's crush, she just says Commander, like. And then there's, like, in parentheses, Eldritch jumps onto you as soon as she sees you. Let's just accept this straight-on display of affection. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. It doesn't help that Eldritch spontaneously emits electricity at times.
Interesting.
So, prepare to get shocked.
I picked South Dakota because...
I plan on getting South Dakota eventually. But I like the reason why I recently just bought a second Eldritch because I ran into I forgot about the level cap.
Oops! Ow! I bonked my microphone. I'm sorry. I'm playing Azur Lane, so I got my phone in front of me. Finally.
I forgot about the level cap, so like I was trying to level up Eldritch, and she wouldn't go past 70. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh shit, I need another one, and I didn't want to use my prototype Bullens because as I said, they're not like the most common resource, and they're like the only things besides another copy of the ship.
Yeah, you only get
that can,
one or two a week of the prototype ones.
Yeah, and you need 2 to get the final limit break. So I'm like, I need to save these where I can.
Oh, that reminds me. That's what I was going to do. I was in my dock talking to randos because I was looking for Atiko. Because I want to see what she's got to say. Let's turn on super rares. Oh, how many of these do I have? Let's see.
Oh, well, now we got to play the comparison game.
6, 7,
rarity, super
8,
rare,
9.
confirm.
I have 9 super rares.
Let's see. Let's not count Bullens. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
2 more. Well, that makes sense though because you explicitly have Prince of Wales, and I do not. So
I have Prince of Wales, and I have the Fox. I have the Foxwives.
That's probably where that means. Girl. And I have Belfast, and you said you don't. So that's where I think our difference is. Because I have Illustrious, I have Warspite.
Though, my San Diego, which is like I was able to max limit, like, my San Diego is level 81.
Wow.
And I was able to max limit break her just by randomly pulling her that many fucking times in the gacha.
That's kind of a disappointment.
Well, actually, she was great, like, for the event, because there's always all that all that Air Force shit going on, and San Diego is great for, like, taking down, like, aircraft and shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, her special skill, I am number 1, is increase your fleet's anti-air for X time by an X%. So yeah, no, she's anti-air focused. It's just that's a little weird a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I was talking about a Maiden's Weight ago, but sure. By the way, I posted this in the chat. But while I was training her first skill, Atago's first skill is Arsonist. I immediately posted the doors come and maybe light my fire. I appreciate a woman who appreciates fire.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Azur Lane's still good.
Azur Lane's still good. Like, honestly, like I said, me personally, I can't find anything to nitpick. Oh, speaking of like nitpicking, remember how like talking about before you like getting pissed off at the exercises? I finally had my first loss. They had to use Belfast, Illustrious, and Enterprise to do it though, so I don't feel too bad.
I mean, you really shouldn't, because quite frankly, I've talked about this before. Illustrious and Enterprise are the most horseshit in exercises. They cheat because their abilities are not PvP focused.
Yeah,
because Illustrious's ability to just make the front line invincible for a short period sucks so much for you when it happens to you, because you're like, oh my god, I can't do anything.
As I said, they barely beat me. It's like I took on like because Belfast does the smoke screen, which makes everyone miss for a bit. But like I said, they barely beat me, so it's like
the other thing to worry about with Belfast is also her other ability is she makes high explosives better, so that can Burn Order can do a lot of damage out. But yeah, no, like the defensive abilities really suck, and it's funny how some of them are like Prince, is it Eugene? Is it actually Eugene?
I want to say Eugene. I don't know. I don't know what phonetically is. Prince Eugene.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google this. Is there a pronunciation for this? Oh god, it's an IPA. Hold on, I'm gonna open up the Wikipedia standard for sounds.
But like, as I said, like I don't have like I'm gonna like my exercise team is my Vanguard is Prince Eugene, Z23, and Javelin, and the back line is Unicorn, Queen Elizabeth, and Ark Royal. I was like, those are all high tier, but you know they're not like people don't like expect them like there's like, oh no, because I have an Illustrious, I just haven't leveled her. I should.
Yeah, because honestly, like, the raw power doesn't matter for exercises. There have been a couple of times where I've been burned. I was going to pick an exercise target, and it's like, oh, they're only power level of 3,000. And then it's like, level 99 Belfast. Only slot. I'm like, well, I'm not going to win this. Because you aren't. If you don't have a similar team, you just won't. The stats are too different. Even if their power rating is technically lower. Like, it's really hard to overwhelm enemy ships in, like, Death of 1,000 Cuts or whatever them.
As I said, like, my Ark Royal and her ability, Swordfish Squadron, which basically delivers an extra load of torpedoes anytime she launches that do damage based upon the skill level. Fucking wrecks shit, and it's amazing. I put that on top of top that off with Queen Ellie's ability just to basically give all royal ships a 15% stat boost. It's good, Civ. I fucking love my Queen Ellie. Like, I have 3 ships at level 100. It's fucking Queen Elizabeth, Z23, and Prince Eugene.
Nice. I don't have anybody quite to 100 yet, but I got a lot close. I only recently got Ark Royal, so I'm training her. Ark Royal's very funny, though.
I fucking love Ark Royal.
Her design is great, but also she has an interesting personality quirk.
She's a destroyer con, I guess.
Yes.
I don't want to say lolicon because she doesn't talk about it.
Not all destroyers are actually like that type, and she explicitly says just those destroyer girls. But like all the comments on her profile are like, yes, FBI.
It's like, FBI, open up.
I found them. I'm like, woo. But yeah, no, and it's funny to hear that out of her, but also she's got a very interesting design. Like, what they do with aircraft carriers, I think, is some of their most creative work, because they're not just guns. Like, Enterprise has a bow. Some of the Japanese ones or even Hermes is a duelist. Like, they've got fucking cards and dual discs. We've talked about before, like, the Fox girls have, like, spirits and stuff. So, like, they do different stuff. Arc Royal has a gun. She has a flight gun.
It's a fucking rifle. It's a full-on long rifle. It's amazing.
Which is cool.
I love her design. Like, honestly, like, Arc Royal's design is, like, one of my favorite. It's, like... It's, oh, God. How do I want to describe it? It's... I don't want to say, like, femme fatale. Because, like, she has the long coat, but she's, like, in a short skirt. She has, like the bodice and, like, the fucking bangs over one eye. It's, like, just, like, the contraption on her arm. It's, like, God, it's, like, so amazing.
Yeah. By the way, I tried. I can't figure out how the pronunciation is supposed to be. Like, I'm looking at the pronunciation guide, the international pronunciation guide for German. I'm trying to find the syllable symbols that Wikipedia has, and I'm just like, I just don't fucking see them. I think it's Eugen, because there's no
Eugen.
I think there's no vowel sound written after the N, but other than that, I'm not sure.
Eugen. Whatever.
Like, I will copy to you how the pronunciation
I need to do
symbols
exercises because I need to keep leveling Eldridge.
So yeah, so there's no vowel sound after the N, but other than that, like,
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like...
I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna say how I fucking want.
That's fine.
People can't tell me what to do.
Well, they can, but you don't have to listen to them. Anyway, let's see. How long have we been going? We've been going for over 2 hours. I'm a little tired.
To call it good. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the one more thing I wanted to say was just that I wanted to finish this up before it took too long, because in addition to other stuff I got to do, I finally downloaded all of Destiny 2. It took a while because it's for free, so I need to, like, boot that up and maybe pull my character, port my old account over. I don't think I get to keep anything out of my character, but I can connect accounts or whatever. And, figure that out. See how fun that is. Because we want to talk about genres we love. I can't write this very well, I don't think. Like, it doesn't flow. But I fucking love planetary romance. Which is what Destiny is based on. Like, shit like John Carter of Mars. And just, like, weird, definitely not real science fiction type approaches to, like, oh yeah, you could do fun, weird stuff on Mars. And... for no reason.
Doesn't make
Mars
sense.
is cool.
No, but guess what? It does somehow because it's cool.
Yeah, I love that. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, but I love it. But yeah, I'm getting a little tired, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this go.
Alrighty.
So I think we'll just cut it there, and I'll do the post processing and all that.
Okay.
And we'll see you guys next time.
I'm out.